bright red right next to this kind of gray pixel that's moving into Moore County, and that's your rotation that's moving from southeast to northwest. Now, it's moving at 10 miles per hour. It's not incredibly fast. In fact, a lot of the times when we were tracking storms last year during things like Debbie and Helene, those storms were moving a lot faster. So if there is anything that's on the ground, it's probably not the to the caliber or the intensity that some of those tornadoes were. Now, looking at our debris tracker right here, what we're looking for is a blue ball or a blue pixel in southern Hoke County that would be located in the same spot as that rotation. So let's go ahead and show that rotation again, and then I'm going to put that debris tracker. So again, not really seeing that located in exactly the same spot. So right now it's all radar indicated. This is not necessarily a confirmed tornado, but it is a radar indicated tornado according to the National Weather Service. And so this is near Shannon and Red Springs, moving to the west. What I'll do here is we'll take our storm relative velocity, right, kind of our rotation, and we'll drag it to the north and west at about 10 miles per hour. Now, this probably isn't going to show a whole lot at first, but what we'll do is we'll kind of take this, change some of the settings behind the scenes to see if there's any towns that show up. So again, this is not really like it's moving to major populations, but that doesn't really matter. A person is a person regardless of if you're in a metropolis or a small town. So Gold Hill, right around 11:18 is when you would see the bulk of this rotation getting closer to you. So this is one of the things that we've been talking about with the remnants of Chantal. I should mention this is now a tropical depression. It is not a tropical storm, but when you have a tropical system that moves over land, you sometimes will get these cells that try to spin up. Okay, so that's on the very southern extent of this. The other thing we need to keep in mind with this is that it's been producing rain rates of about 2 to 3 inches an hour farther to the southeast in areas like Lumberton. Okay, so that's definitely one of the other threats that we'll watch with this, is the fact that it does have the potential to produce some flooding as well. So the area, I'm pulling up Google Maps over here because it's getting closer to Antioch. There's plenty of churches, and here we are at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, and you can assume that there's plenty of services that are going on in this area. So we're talking about Hoke County Church of God. This is where it's near. Bridges Grove African Methodist Church, Mount Elm Baptist Church, right near Old Wire Road and Highway 211 there. There's also Lumbee River Christian College. There's the Shannon Assembly of God. So this is an area that, again, is seeing that rotation. No confirmation of a tornado, but these are the churches that are located in that area. Okay, so let me go ahead and draw right here. This is Highway 211 that you see in that white line that I just drew, and all those churches are kind of sprinkled to the west and to the east of that. Okay, so if you're watching from those churches, maybe you've had to interrupt your service, and I hate that the weather has had to do that for you, but if you are listening, we appreciate it, and this is one of those cases where you need to take your severe weather protocol, whatever the case may be, at your place of worship, and definitely make sure that you are in your safe spot, that you're away from any glass windows, that maybe you're in the center of the congregation and things like that. So again, this is just south of Rayford. There you see that rotation that was being detected on radar. So that's why the National Weather Service at 10:52 issued this tornado warning that's in effect until 11:30. What we'll do here throughout the next half hour or so, assuming that the warning continues, is we'll go between different products. So the velocity is the one that I'm going to spend most of our time on here, because that's the one that's showing us whether or not there's rotation and potential for a tornado to drop. The other one that I'm going to use is something that's called the debris tracker, and we'll go ahead and click the right thing that time. I'm not seeing anything that's really sticking out just yet. So you might be watching and saying, okay, then get off the TV. It's not necessarily how this works, especially with tropical tornadoes or potential tropical tornadoes. they drop very quickly. And so sometimes they can drop in between radar scans, and that's why we stay with you for as long as we do. And that's why the Weather Service has issued this tornado warning out for 30 minutes. And again, this is just for southern Hoke County. It's the only place that has a tornado warning that's in effect, but nonetheless, it does deserve our attention. And again, with this particular one, is you've got torrential tropical rain. You are probably not going to see a funnel like you would in Tornado Alley. Like you see that neatly defined funnel coming down. You're probably not going to see that if a tornado is indeed happening. It is more than likely going to be wrapped in this tropical rain. So very gusty wind, very heavy rain, makes it tough to drive, especially again on that Highway 211 in southern Hoke County. Now, if you're in Rayford, you may have gotten the alert on your phone. You're not technically under the tornado warning, but let's just be watching and making sure that we're at least taking this as an opportunity to know where our safe spot is if we do need to get into that because of this storm, okay? So your reflectivity, what I'm showing you right now is your conventional rain. All I'm showing you is just how heavy the rain is on Dual Doppler 5000. And your rotation is right about here where you see some of that heaviest rain. It's where these air is rising quickly into the storm, and you're getting that spin that right now is just east of Highway 211. In case you are just joining us, what I'll do is I'll put the storm relative velocity back on. I'll show you what I'm even talking about. So you've got raindrops that are going this way and raindrops that are going that way, okay? So there's your rotation, southern Hoke County, starting to push a little bit closer to Highway 211 and Rayford. So this is just radar indicated. There's no indication that this has indeed dropped a tornado. Pardon me, but we are talking on this other computer with the National Weather Service in Raleigh to see if they think anything has dropped or if they've gotten reports of anything like that. So, and again, if you're just joining, I want to read off some of the places that need to get into their safe spots. So there's Balfour Road, there's Old Wire Road, there's Highway 211, and there's several churches in this area. And again, we're at 11:04 in the morning on a Sunday, and you have to assume that there are a lot of these churches that are in the middle of service, and hopefully the weather has at least gotten their attention to be safe while they're in their place of worship. You've got Faith Anointed Temple, which is just to the west of 211, okay? So that is probably right about here. Closer to the center of rotation, right about here is Hoke County Church of God, and this is just before you get to Balfour Road. So this is just in between what looks like Highway 71. There's the Tienda Mexicana El Paso. As you go north of that toward the Hoke County Church of God, that's where this rotation is moving. And then you've got Antioch and Highway 211. So that's some of the stuff that is right about here. So Gold Hill is one of the smaller communities. There's Shannon Road, McFall Road, there's Andrews Road. Looks like these are a lot of residential places and maybe neighborhoods that are around some of those churches that I was mentioning in Hoke County, okay? So just keep that in mind here for the next little bit. If you are away from the windows within your house or your church, that's your best place to be. If you have a basement, that's absolutely your best place to be. I've seen a number of times where you get these quick spawning tornadoes that they hit the top part of the house. The bottom part of the house is really not that bad, okay? So that's where I want you guys to be if you're in Antioch, if you're in southern Hoke County, and even if you're in Rayford, okay? So let's kind of reset here because we've been talking a lot about this tornado warning, as we should, and what I'm gonna do is take you to more of a home view. So this is very close to the center of circulation. This is very close to the center of what is now tropical depression, Chantal. In fact, we just sent an alert to the WRAL news app 1 minute ago talking about that. We were actually having conversations in the newsroom about it prior to me coming here into the weather center to talk about this tornado warned storm. So it's closer to the center of circulation. You obviously have a lot of spin around that, so that's something that the National Weather Service is taking into account. Outside of that, right, you could be watching from Wake County, you could be watching from Johnston County, and you're like, it's fine here, and that's absolutely right. You just have some rain showers moving through. We'll watch a few of these downpours in Wayne and Wilson counties because they may try to spin a little bit. You can just never really rule that out when you have a landfalling tropical system. That interaction between tropics and land, it causes a lot of friction. It causes a little more spin. Again, not to the extent that we saw with Debbie and Helene last year, but still worth noting as we go through these late morning hours. Let me stop the tape here because I know that's a lot of data coming at you at once. And I know for those of us in southern Hope County, this can be a little overwhelming. What we'll do is we'll take you into parts of Wayne, Wilson counties, and I'm not seeing anything that's really spinning. Okay, just wanted to investigate that because there's lightning strikes that are just to the southwest of Greenville, moving in the direction of Wilson County. I know you guys are on edge from what you dealt with Debbie last year, but again, those are two completely different storms. Okay, so I'm not trying to put it in your head that this is a repeat of that. But in Hope County, let's go back to the southern part of Hope County here, and we'll zoom in a little bit more. Again, this is the area of rotation that's moving to the northwest at about 10 miles per hour, at least according to the warning verbatim from the National Weather Service. I'm going to take it up just a tad. So if you are in Rayford, right, keep in mind this tornado warning, what you see in the red box there, it's in effect until 11:30. If you're in Rayford, you might see that core of rotation passing over by around 11:34 this morning. So that's why you're not under the warning just yet. And everything I'm seeing here is still evidence of rotation, but it's not necessarily dropping anything just yet. You would have to see something on our debris detector, which we'll show you here in just a minute. But there is some broad rotation, okay? This is something that we've seen for the past several scans, and I'll show you just kind of how this all started. So we'll go back a few minutes. Every single scan for the past 15, 20 minutes has had some version of rotation that now is crossing over Highway 211. Okay, so Highway 211, if you're not familiar with it in Hope County, it's otherwise known as Red Springs Road, right? So there it is, and here's your rotation that's moving into that area and toward areas like Chisholm Road, McBride Mill Road, Andrews Road, and then again as you get closer to Laurenburg Road, heading into downtown Rayford, East Palmer Street, there's Arabia Road, and this is again moving to the northwest at 10 miles per hour. Let me kind of see where we are in relation to some of the landmarks that are in this part of Hope County. So we're getting closer to the 211 Sports Complex. There's Shady Grove Church. There's Hedgepeth Plumbing Company. It looks like there's Dreamville MX. I'm assuming that's a motocross kind of place. So these are some of the areas that need to be in your safe spot here as this gets a little bit closer to you. Because again, as I'm looking kind of off screen, this is starting to get a little bit closer to where you'd have Rayford. There's the Food Lion there just north of Laurenburg Road. So just keep that in mind that if you're in these areas, you need to be in your safe place. That safe place, of course, is going to be in the center part of your house, apartment, condo, what have you. It's going to be away from windows. And if you can get into a lower part, if you do have a lower part, that's going to be your best place to be. So here we are at 11:10. We've been going over this for 15 minutes now, and I know, again, for those of you who maybe are watching from other parts of the area, this seems like it's not important to you. I get that, but we do have one part of the area here, namely Hoke County, which is under a tornado warning, and so it's our obligation to stay with you guys while there's a tornado warning in effect and while there's any sort of rotation, right? If there was no rotation, I would stop, okay? I would let you guys go back to regular programming, but because there's at least some form of rotation that's on the radar, we're going to keep with it. So this is right around Antioch, okay? That's one of the places that we were mentioning just a few moments ago. Want to bring you back to the reflectivity. Again, reflectivity is just fancy for showing rain, okay? This is what we show you during any kind of rain event, any kind of storm, and when you have that red, that yellow, that's your very heavy rain. So if you're just joining us from southern Hope County, maybe you live in Rayford, you are not going to see this neatly condensed funnel. If there is a tornado on the ground, you're not going to see that. It's going to be very much wrapped in rain. That's what makes these tropical tornado warnings tough to track, right? Because you don't really have good eyes on it. So I don't want you guys going out trying to storm chase this thing. Just get into your safe spot. Listen to us on the WRAL weather app. We're streaming live right now, so that's definitely your best course of action, okay? Let me bring you back to the velocity, and then what we'll do is go back to the debris tracker. Once again, what I'm looking for here, when I'm using the debris tracker, I'm looking for a blue pixel that lines up with the spin that I'm showing you on velocity. I'm not seeing that right now. So again, there's no evidence that this has been confirmed, but in between radar scans, you can sometimes get these things to drop and then come back up. Especially in these weaker kind of storms, that can easily happen. So that's why we're sticking with you guys, okay? Let's go back to the velocity, which is going to be the main thing we use here, and you still have some of that broad rotation. It's right over Highway 211 there, heading toward Andrews Road, Chisholm Road, and if you're right near Laurinburg Road, so if you can see my computer mouse behind me, there's Laurinburg Road, and then maybe like 2 minutes north of that is a Food Lion. And of course, with it being Sunday, I'm sure a lot of folks are doing their grocery shopping. If you're watching us on the phone while you're pushing the buggy around, definitely make sure that you're in a safe spot and you at least hold off for the time being on maybe trying to race out to your car, okay? Nothing confirmed, but there's a radar indicated tornado here in southern Hope County. Rayford to the north, Antioch kind of right where you see that core of rotation and all these street names I've been reading to you guys. This is very slow moving, right? A lot of times when you have a strong tornado, you're talking about something that's moving at 40, 50 miles per hour. That is not the case. One other thing that we're gonna watch for, I'm looking at the observations from Lumberton. They had 4.2 inches of rain in like 2 hours. So there's a potential for some flooding, okay? Just got this from the National Weather Service literally within the past minute. They said they are continuing the tornado warning for south central Hope County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. They just mentioned located near Antioch, so we're looking at the same thing, or near Rayford in other words. Moving to the northwest, they're now saying at 20 miles per hour. So they took the very southern tip of Hope County out of the tornado warning. So you just have this little pixel right here that's in that warning. What we're going to do now is move it to the northwest at 20 miles per hour. And sometimes when we do this tracking, we have to adjust a setting, which I'm going to do right here. So Saunders, which is basically Rayford, you're looking at this a little after 11:30. Timberland, another small community in Hope County, you're looking at this closer to about 11:35 to 11:40. And that's the new track on this potentially tornado producing storm. We kind of have to word it carefully, right? Because nothing's been confirmed just yet, but there's at least potential for this to drop because of the rotation that's evident. And I've worked plenty of tropical systems where you see something that here shows broad rotation and you can quickly get something to drop. Okay, so that's why we're with you guys here at 11:15, and assuming that the tornado warning keeps going, we'll be with you for the next 15 minutes in Hope County talking about it, okay? So this is very close to the 211 Sports Complex right now. Let me just kind of get my bearings. Yep, this is getting closer to that. I mentioned Hedgepeth Plumbing Company. This is just north of Old Wire Road. There's Piney Grove Holiness Church. There's Heart and Soul Farm. There's the Freedom Chapel AME Zion Church Cemetery, Shady Grove Church, so all kind of in the same area here. These are places right along 211 or Red Springs Road that you need to be getting into your safe spot as soon as possible, all right? Because right there is your rotation. It's still fairly broad, but it is evident using this velocity to kind of show how the raindrops are moving. What I'll do here is I'll go over the past 15 minutes. And why I'm doing this is because as I'm talking to you guys, I am analyzing the storm, right? So there's just kind of like some multitasking going on here. And I'm trying to see if there's any notable change in behavior with this. Is there any spike in the rotation? Is there anything that makes me go, all right, what's up with that? And right now what I'm seeing is a pretty consistent signature of broad rotation. So I don't see anything that's very violent right now. I just see a rotating or potentially rotating storm that's probably a few thousand feet above the surface as well, but with potential to drop something, okay? And it could be very quick. So that's why we're with you guys. Let me go ahead and switch it back to the debris tracker. So we'll do that and then go back to the velocity, back to the debris tracker. Again, not seeing anything that really is popping out at me. So while we have that, I understand there are way more people watching than just the folks in Southern Hope County, and we appreciate you guys and appreciate your patience as well, because I know that sometimes this isn't always geared directly at you. There's still some limitations in the technology of broadcast television and how we get these warnings out to people. We serve 23 counties, and Hope County just so happens to be one of them. But this is what we've been looking at for the past 15 minutes or so. There's a nice break in the action in Cumberland County, in Sampson County, pardon me, not Cumberland County, Sampson County. There's a decent break. There's also a nice break in Harnett County. Johnston County, especially as you go north along I-95 and you're going away from Smithfield and Selma, it's where you got your downpours coming in. And on these very outer edges, these very outer bands, those we also have to watch for any kind of potential rotation. I'll stop in my tracks there and we'll see if that indeed is the case with any of these small cells. And good news is I don't see really a ton. This is moving really far away from the radar, so maybe heading toward Kinston, which is not our viewing area, but this is a tendency and a trend that we'll have to watch moving forward as we go through the early afternoon hours. Just some of these more sporadic and discrete cells, sometimes they try to spin. And what I'm talking about here, just in case I haven't made it clear for you, is these cells that are in between New Bern and in between Smithfield and Selma. So as they go from southeast to northwest, we'll have to see if they try to spin at all. None of them have just yet, but those are the ones that we'll have to watch if another tornado warning is potentially issued, okay? Let's go back into Hope County. And as we're doing that, I'm gonna pull up a camera on the other computer, so I'm gonna try not to stand in your way as we look at what's going on there in Hope County. What we'll do is we'll pull up a live camera that's at least within the general vicinity, just to see if anything is acting a little bit suspect. And what I'll do is I'll pull up the Southern Pines camera, and this will give us an idea as to maybe if we're seeing anything that's kind of weird. Let's see, Southern Pines, there we go. And I'll pull that up on a different source here. So let me get that for you guys. There's Southern Pines. Let me turn off this little button here. That way you can see the whole thing. So there's Southern Pines, and you still have folks that are actually golfing in this. Southern Pines is not under a tornado warning, but that seems like some pretty miserable weather to be golfing in. Very breezy, heavy rain as well. And this is just to the north and west of the tornado warned storm that we're tracking that is south of Rayford, okay? So that's your camera. I'll switch you back to the radar source here so you can see what I'm tracking in Southern Hope County for the next 10 minutes, and we'll see if the Weather Service decides to continue this, which they did 7 minutes ago. We'll see if they provide another update, but it is, like I said, our obligation to you guys, no matter where you're watching from, to be with you guys every step of the way when there's a tornado warned storm, okay? Let's go back, see if there's any noticeable change in the velocity. This is now moving just west of 211 or Red Springs Road. I mentioned some of these places like Chisholm Road and Blue Springs Road, Laurenburg Road, East Palmer Street, and this is as you get closer to Rayford. So the rotation that we're seeing, still pretty broad. If this were really tightening up, you would see some brighter green and brighter red, right, kind of clashing up against each other. So we're not necessarily seeing that, not necessarily seeing evidence of a confirmed tornado just yet. But if you're right along Laurenburg Road, which if you're not familiar with this crazy map, it is right here, Laurenburg Road, that's between Newtown and Rayford. This storm is moving toward that, all right? And I mentioned places like Chisholm Road that were right near there as well. Blue Springs Road, this is where that core of rotation is going, and then eventually up toward McLaughlin Road, Aberdeen Road, up toward Timberland. We mentioned that as one of the places before that by 11:38 could wind up seeing at least a little bit of that rotation there. Again, what we'll do, just kind of as part of our analysis, as we're kind of doing this together, right, is we'll take you back to see if there's any sort of debris. Thank goodness, multiple scans through, I'm still not noticing that. So there's this is what you would call a radar indicated as opposed to a radar confirmed tornado, all right? So the radar is indicating that there's at least the possibility for it, which is why this tornado warning is in effect for the next 8 minutes. It's the only tornado warning that's going on across the 23 counties that we cover, but nonetheless, it is there just west now of Red Springs Road. So I do want to give some all clears here for those of us who may have been watching from Bridges Grove African Methodist Church right there near John Road, from Hedgepeth Plumbing Company. You guys are in the clear from the worst of that rotation. Now, it's still rainy, it's still windy, but in terms of rotation, I think you guys are good to go in that part of Hoke County. There was also Hoke County Church of God and the Lumbee River Christian Church near Balfour Road. You guys are giving the all clear from any kind of rotation with this. This is really starting to move more in the direction of Laurinburg Road, and it looks like the bulk of the rotation is starting to make this a little bit of a curve, right? Whereas it looked like it was kind of going like this, it's now kind of curving a little bit farther to the west. So that may actually avoid the downtown part of Rayford and that Food Lion that I was talking about. Still close call there, but at least want to provide a little bit of an update with regards to that here as of 11:24 on this Sunday morning, okay? So we have another 6 minutes to go of this tornado warning, and I'm going to put a little note in the chat with our friends at the National Weather Service who have just been on top of everything, and see if they plan to cancel the tornado warning that's in effect. Because ultimately they're the ones that issue this stuff, and we're just kind of their teammates, right? And we help them get the message out. So I just wanted to put that note in the chat with them and see if what their intentions are with this tornado warning. So there's small communities like Bowmore, just southwest of Rayford, that could see this little bit of rotation move through. There's Crawford Wright Road, Fulford McMillan Road as well, near Turnpike Road and Gainey's Place. This is the next part of Hoke County that may want to just seek some shelter from this storm, as we've got another 5 minutes now to the tornado warning. As we've been doing for the past several minutes here, let's go back in time a little bit and see if there's any noticeable change with the rotation. And what I'm actually noticing, it's been broad to begin with, but I'm noticing a little bit of weakening in the rotation. And that's been the trend for storms that we've been watching all throughout the morning. I've been here since about 2 o'clock this morning, and any storm that comes through, as it moves from east to west, it is generally moving into slightly cooler air. So that air is a little more stable, and it is not necessarily favorable for storms. Let's see, I just heard from Tom Green at the National Weather Service in Raleigh. He said the rotation with the storm that prompted the tornado warning has weakened, we were just talking about, and we will likely let it expire at 11:30. Okay, so with that in mind, as we've only got 4 minutes left, I'm going to give you one last look at this storm, and if I don't notice anything glaringly obvious or glaringly changing, then I will let you guys go back to regular programming, and hopefully this is the last time I interrupt what you're watching here on WRAL News. No matter what it is, we appreciate you guys watching and tuning in, but again, this is kind of our priority here in the weather centers, that everything is running safely and smoothly. So again, in agreement with what the National Weather Service is saying, I'm noticing weakening in the rotation. So here at 11:26, Master Control, if you're listening, I think it's safe to go ahead and toss things back to regular program.
Again to 1:30. The storm was located near Southern Pines, moving to the north at about 15 miles per hour. Of course, this is what's left of Tropical Storm Chantal moving through the Sandhills right now. And if you're watching from this area, you notice the torrential rainfall that we've seen throughout the morning. All this is moving to the north and to the northwest rather slowly, and you can also see there are flash flood warnings there as well. So let's get rid of that. Let's take a look at the tornado warning that's in effect again till 1:30. We'll zoom in and get a little closer look. Now, when you have tropical systems, they tend to be brief, weak, spin-up tornadoes. Let me stop the time lapse and get over to the velocity so we can see what's going on. And we see a little bit of a signature showing up. It's just coming out of Hope County right now. It's this area right here. That is just near Southern Pines, showing a little bit of differentiation between the colors here. These are the raindrops moving toward the radar site, which of course is in the Clayton area, and these are the raindrops here moving away. So the rotation is setting up in this area. So let me zoom in a little bit closer. We'll get some street level street names, and we're talking about this being on Callaway Place, Old Mail Road, Tremont Street, Cross Country Lane, Den Road, and the Sheldon Road area. There's the Manley community, and again, this is moving to the north at about 15 miles per hour. So this new scan has just come in, so the circulation looks like it is over Moore County right now. Let me do a storm track and see what we see. This is moving to the north at about 15 miles per hour. Let me see if I can get some more names to show up. Set the default. And so we're talking about it being in the Manley community at 106, Niagara at 108, Yadkin Trail at 112, Warrior Woods at 116, Hillcrest community at 143, and Carthage at 150. So if you're watching from this area and inside the red polygon, which is the tornado warned area, you need to find your safe spot, go to your safe spot, area that is on the first level of your home. That's away from any windows. A bathroom or a closet that doesn't have any windows would be the preferable place to be. Now, tornadoes from tropical systems tend to be weak, although we did see last year with Helene, that was an exception to the rule with those strong tornadoes that moved through some of our eastern counties. The signature doesn't look all that strong on here. Let me change over to a different product and see if we notice a difference, and there's really no big difference between the two products that I'm popping up. So the signature does not look all that strong. Let me time lapse this over the past 15 minutes, and you can see the suspected rotation area and moving toward the north at about 15 miles per hour. Vass, Taylortown, Carthage, all in the tornado warned area. And it continues to move toward the north. And I believe Chris Michaels was trying to tell me something. What were you trying to tell me, Chris? And shared. Okay. Can you put it in a source so I can just punch over?
It's in camera 35.
No, but I mean, can you put it like weather 3 or weather 4? Because I can easily punch it up.
Weather 3.
Okay. So Chris Michaels is standing by with me. Grant Skinner's here as well. And so we're covering what's happening this afternoon with the remnants of Chantal moving through the area right now with the heavy tropical rainfall. And right now we're concentrating on a tornado warning that's in for parts of Lee County, Moore County, and also northern Hope County. But since it looks like the circulation is passing into Moore County and coming out of Hope County, that will probably come to an end pretty soon. So we got about 29 minutes until this warning is either canceled or expired. I'm checking sources and seeing if there's any updates from the national or from the Weather Service over here in Raleigh, and they're not having any new updates. And so we will continue to watch this as it moves farther to the north, deeper into Moore County. So let me go back into our broad view, take a look at what is happening. We'll do a little bit of a reset here. So this is all the heavy tropical downpours in association with Chantal as it continues to move to the north-northwest. Now, eventually, what will happen? It is currently heading in this direction. It is expected to move to the north and then eventually to the northeast across the triangle area. So what we're seeing here with the very heavy rainfall will eventually shift to the north and then to the northeast. So it's quite possible as we get into the latter afternoon and evening hours, the core of the heavier rain could be across the triangle. So that's where we're going to have to watch out for. At least that's the forecast that I've seen on some of the latest high resolution models. So the heaviest rain that you see in the Sandhills right now isn't just going going to continue to move to the north and northwest, heading toward the Triad. At some point, it'll make the swing and move over the triangle and head up toward the north. So we have to be aware. What we've seen through the afternoon here in the morning as well, here in the triangle, has just been periodic areas of some heavier rainfall, and then it'll stop, and then you'll have a new area of heavy rain coming in, and then it will stop. At some point, this heavier rain that you see in Moore County will gradually shift to the north, all through Chatham County and over Durham and Orange counties, and eventually Wake County. And again, that should be later in the afternoon and into the evening hours. And really, from what I've looked at the high resolution models earlier today, the core of the heaviest rain doesn't move out of the area until after midnight tonight. So this is probably something we're going to be dealing with throughout the afternoon. Now, understand that our area has been added to the marginal risk for severe weather, or level 1 risk. So we will be on the lookout for weak, brief spin-up tornadoes as we head through the afternoon and evening. Now, from the Storm Prediction Center earlier today, they said a watch probability is about 20%, so they're not likely going to issue a tornado watch. So this isn't something that we're going to see happen on a widespread basis. They would be isolated, they would be weak tornadoes, and they would probably be brief as well. And the signature that I saw show up there in Moore County does not look menacing like we've seen with some other signatures in the past. So again, there's that tornado warning in effect for parts of Hoke County, Moore County, and a small portion of Lee County. That's until 1:30. It's a radar indicated possible tornado that was located near Southern Pines, moving to the north at about 15 miles per hour. Now we also see these other bands here setting up from about eastern Wilson County all the way down to New Bern that are moving up to the north and to the northwest. And since these are coming off the water and encountering friction of the land, there could be possible spin-ups over here too. There was a tornado warning earlier in one of the eastern counties that I saw pop up on the radar. I don't exactly remember what county it was, but we'll be aware that there could be some activity showing up over here. So let me change back over to velocities and stop the time lapse, and we'll just look over here to see if we see any potential rotations. There may be some water spouts offshore near a Cape Lookout from what looks a little suspicious there. And then back over here toward our viewing area, we see that one little area. There might be something here over the southern part of Harnett County coming out of northern Cumberland County. That might be another area we have to watch. And of course, we're watching this area here that is now over southern Moore County, and again, moving to the north at about 15 miles per hour. Let me get a closer look. We'll see what communities are going to be impacted. We'll do another storm track too. So that circulation area looks like it is heading across US 1. It looks like heading across the Manly community and Niagara. There is Southern Pines, North May Street, Yadkin Trail, Warrior Woods. If you're watching from this area and you hear me mentioning your community or hear me mentioning your road name, like Airport Road, Midland Road, Central Drive, Camp Easter Road, you need to be in your safe spot. You need to go to the lowest level of your house or wherever dwelling you're in and go into an interior room, very small room that would afford the best shelter. Usually the smallest room in the house is one that's more structurally sound. You need to be in there and also just stay there until the tornado warning does pass. You don't want to be near any windows because if there's flying debris and it hits the windows, the glass could shatter and cut you up, and we don't want that to be the case. So again, the main circulation area appears to be right now in the Manly community, Southern Pines, Hog Island community. This continues to move to the north. It looks like more of a north-northwest movement at about 15 miles per hour. So it is rather slow movement up to the north and northwest. So let me do another storm track from that area and we'll see what communities show up. So we'll do about 15 miles per hour. Let me fix the towns. And so Niagara right now, Yadkin Trail at 111, Warrior Woods at 115, Hillcrest at 141, Pleasantville at 149, and Carthage at 150. So these are the communities that would be impacted by the potential tornado that is indicated on the radar and the approximate arrival times. Now I understand, let's see if we can punch up the Southern Pines camera or Pinehurst camera, and you could. Southern Pines went down, according to Chris. So you're looking at Pinehurst, and you can see the very heavy rainfall there. We do have a flash flood watch that's in effect for the area through the duration of the afternoon and evening for the potential for scenes like this. We could be looking at localized flooding. Again, there are flash flood warnings. Let me jump back to Weather 2 and put the radar back on, and we'll highlight the flash flood warnings. And so you have a flash flood warning for all of Hoke County till 2:45, and also parts of Scotland County until 2:45 as well. We can clear this off. We could take a look at some of the rainfall accumulation, and let me take a look at some of the numbers here. So this is what we've seen. This is actually the rainfall rate. With the tropical rainfall, we're looking at rainfall rates of 7 inches of rain per hour. This is 5.3 per hour. That's over Richmond County. Southern Moore County, we're seeing rainfall rates 4.3 inches per hour. So this is tropical rainfall, and since it's a slow-moving system, it has a likelihood of creating more flash flooding. So the flash flood warnings that we see for Hoke and parts of Scotland counties will probably be built farther north, eventually over Moore County, perhaps Montgomery County, Lee County, and this is probably just the beginning of what we're seeing with flash flood warnings as we go through the afternoon. So let me see if I can get the rainfall. There you go, that's what I was looking for. So this is the 1 hour rainfall. Let's take a look at the 6 hour rainfalls, and we'll put some numbers on here. And this is a Doppler radar estimate, 5.5 inches for parts of Scotland County. Far western Hoke County, we're talking about 5.2 inches. Northern Hoke County, 2.9. 1.98 as you get north of Southern Pines. So the rain's coming down heavily, and that heavy rain that's been to the south. Let me go back to the radar view, and we'll go back to the dual Doppler 5000 radar. You can see now all that heavy rain has shifted out of Hoke and Scotland and Richmond counties, is moving to the north. And now that heavy rain is moving into parts of Harnett County, the Olivia and Barbecue areas, also up to Sanford and also up to Chatham County. So most of this for us is going to be a rain event. It's going to be an event that causes flood advisories, flash flood warnings. There was one of the high resolution model that I looked at this morning that had rainfall in excess of 5 inches across the sand hills. There was another that showed as much as 10. Now, the official rainfall projection from the Storm Prediction Center, I should say the Weather Prediction Center, is about 2 to 3 inches across this area. And so we'll see if that low actually is the case, or if the greater numbers actually tend to be the more correct. So again, tornado warning in effect until 1:30 for central Moore County, southwestern Lee County, and it looks like Hoke County is out of the tornado warning. The polygon does not extend into that region anymore. Let's see, continues Lee and Moore County until 1:30. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Southern Pines, moving north still at about 15 miles per hour. So we have no update other than that from the National Weather Service. Chris Michaels just sent out a message asking if there's an update on any of the tornado warnings since the rotation has weakened the last few scans, and we're awaiting a response from the National Weather Service to see if they will discontinue the tornado warning. Because again, typically if you join us all the time for tornado warnings, we tend to look for the greens butted up against the reds, and we're just not seeing this across the area. I'm sorry, I'm just jumping through products to see what's showing up. And again, the area of concern or suspect is between Niagara, Manly, Southern Pines, and Hunt Cliff. This is where the suspected rotation area is showing up on the radar. And it's not your typical signature that we would see, but it is something concerning to the National Weather Service, and that's why they've issued the tornado warning. So let me expand the view, and we'll do a new storm track from Southern Pines all the way there to about 15 miles per hour. And let me put some street names, city names. So we're talking about it being in Warrior Woods at 116, Hillcrest at 143, Pleasantville at 152. So if you're in this area where the greatest rotation is or where it is heading, you need to be in your safe spot until this passes. And again, all clear is probably about 17 minutes away, according to what we're seeing from the National Weather Service. So let me stop this, clear this off, go back to the reflectivity, and we can see very heavy rainfall is occurring across the southern part of Moore County right now, including Southern Pines and Pinehurst, Vass. This will soon make its way toward Carthage and Cameron. Let me time lapse this, and this is a 15-minute time lapse. and all that heavy rain is rotating up to the north and northwest, making its way into Siler City, over toward Pittsboro, Bear Creek, Goldston, seeing some of that heavy rain. And then you could see the heavy rain over southern part of Harnett County right now. Let's zoom in and see what communities are impacted by that. And these are torrential rain bands. We're talking about Spout Springs and Johnsonville, Anderson Creek, Flat Branch, Walkertown. A brief, very heavy rainfall, enough to cause ponding of water on the roadways. A lot of folks probably coming back from lunch after going to church this morning. And all that is going to cause problems on the roads, and will eventually make its way toward Calabiat Springs. It's heading toward Lillington. Let's see where else. Heading to Olivia. There's the barbecue community. Pineview as well. Carolina Trace over toward Lee County, seeing some of that heavier rainfall too. Now, a lot of us still needing a little bit of rain, but the amount of rain that's likely to come down in the Sandhills will be quite tremendous, because you could see the heavy rain with the yellows, reds, and oranges occurring over parts of Moore County. And that is going to be making its way toward Robbins and more deeply into Lee County and eventually Chatham County. So we all expect a very heavy rainfall as we head into the afternoon. So let me go back to a wide view and we'll take off the sweep. So there is what is left of Chantal, just an area of low pressure. Chantal made landfall earlier over South Carolina, has been moving to the north and northwest through the morning, bringing its very heavy rainfall into the region, and will continue to do so rather slowly as we head through the afternoon and up to the evening. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is now moving in this general direction. Models indicate this will eventually start turning to the north and to the northeast, and so the core of this heavy rain here will eventually set up shop here at some point this afternoon and into the evening, and then eventually move on out. And from what I saw at models earlier today, it would be after midnight that it would be making its way across southern Virginia. So we have several hours ahead where some of this rain will be rather heavy. We'll probably see more flash flood flood advisories, flash flood warnings, and hopefully no more tornado warnings. And again, if we do see any tornadoes, they're weak, they're brief, they're quick spin ups. That's what we tend to see from tropical systems, at least what we've seen many times in the past. The exception was last year when we saw Helene. We had those tornadoes move through some of our eastern counties and cause tremendous damage. Don't think that we're going to see that out of this, because it didn't have the potency as Helene did when it was over the Gulf, and it made its way across Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and the remnants made their way through North Carolina. So yeah, doesn't look like it'd be quite so bad. Now, I want to share with you another view. This is Sanford. You folks are seeing some very heavy rainfall. That don't see anybody driving through downtown right now. And of course, a lot of folks are coming back from their holiday weekend down east of the coast. And you know I-40 is probably going to be filled with a lot of cars. The good news is all that heavy rain that you see now is far away from folks trying to get up I-40, maybe I-95, going up I-85. It's mainly confined to the Sandhills right now, but again, eventually that will shift to the north, and late this afternoon and into the evening will be making its way across the triangle, per what I've seen on some of the high resolution models this morning. So we'll be watching this as we head through the afternoon. So let me check with the Weather Service and see if they have any updates. And there was no response to Chris's query about how long the tornado warning will likely last. It's 1:17. This tornado warning is set to expire at 1:30. So we will remain on the air until the tornado warning does expire or gets canceled prior to 1:30. And you can see how heavy that rain is coming down across Pinehurst right now. And you can see the flooding that's going on there. They will probably be added to a flood advisory or probably in a flash flood warning at some point, because the rain is coming down at a heavy clip, and it's been quite wet across the area in some locations. Remember, we've seen some heavy rain in the Sandhills. I believe it was last week or the week before, and we were seeing similar scenes on our cameras there. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we'll have a flood advisory issued or even a flash flood warning. We'll let you know if we hear anything about that, but so far that has not come in. So we go back to the radar. This is the wide view of the radar. Let's go to the dual Doppler 5000. And you can see all the lightning strikes down east toward the coast. The lightning strikes, not a whole lot of them. This is more of a showery kind of setup than it is more of a thunderstorms. And can I take that graphic, Chris?
Yes, on three.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so Chris just put up a new graphic. Rainfall totals over the last 24 hours. Lumberton and Robeson County, 4.68. Rayford, 2.82. Clinton and Sampson County, 1.72. Irwin and Harnett County, 1.11. Kenly over in Johnston County, 0.58. And Sanford, as of right now, 0.30. And of course, we do have our WRAL weather alert day that is in effect with the very heavy rainfall that is expected and the isolated tornado potential. Can you bring up the level 1 risk graphic? Do you have that anywhere? Because I wanted to. Okay, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. And so we continue to look at the radar view, and that is the severe risk for the day today. So pretty much everybody in our viewing area is under level 1 risk, and this is for the potential for tornadoes, isolated, weak, brief tornadoes. We're not expecting them on a widespread basis. Right now, as we speak, we're not seeing that risk for parts of northern Warren County or Halifax County, Northampton County, or up to South Hill. We'll see if that changes as the center of the circulation gradually makes its way up there, but I would think by the time it made its way up there, the circulation would have slowed enough that we probably wouldn't see any threat up there, but we'll let you know if that does change. So again, I'll repeat this again. We have a tornado warning in effect until 1:30 for parts of Moore County and Lee County. It was a radar indicated tornado that we're seeing across the southern part of Moore County. And this continues to move to the northwest at about 15. Very weak signature showing up on the radar. Let's go back over to the velocities. Let's turn back on the radar and punch that up. And there's really a line that we're watching, and I'm wondering if there'll be a new tornado warning that's issued for this spot right here, because I pointed this out earlier and just looks a little suspicious right now. So these bands are moving toward the north and northwest and will continue to do so. And we'll see if we'll get more warnings. It just looks a little concerning. So let me zoom in first to where the warning is, then we'll go back to that little, looks like a little spin up happening over Harnett County. So now we're seeing the area of rotation. Let me stop this between Vass and Pinehurst. And it's this little area here. That there's a little area here. There's also a little area here. And let me zoom in a little bit closer to see what communities. So we're talking about Niagara and Lakeview, and then back over to Aiken Road and Lobelia Road, Lake Bay Road. These are all suspect areas. They don't look strong enough to me to be something that would be on the ground. Maybe rotating wall cloud, or maybe just a little funnel cloud. But even then, it might be a little bit of a stretch. But that does continue to move toward the north. Let me put a new storm track. And we'll go from Southern Pines over to Vass and lift that up to the northwest. Let me shut that off. Too much clutter on the screen. Let me put some town names on. And so Warrior Woods arrival time at 1:24, Hillcrest at 1:50, Carthage at 1:58. Okay, so if you're watching in this area, that is where the greatest concern is right now. Let me shut this off. Let's go back over to Harnett County. And again, this looks a little suspicious. Could be a little bit of rotation trying to set up. And so we'll zoom in here. And so we have Flat Branch, we have Bun Level, there's the Harnett community, there's Anderson Creek. So we'll just call it something we're watching for this area right now to see if a tornado warning gets issued. We're talking about McNeil Hobbs Road, Temple Road, Derrick Road, Loop Road, McLean Chapel Church Road. As soon as I hear anything, I will let you know if anything gets issued out of this, but I just want to give you guys a heads up. Let me do a storm track, because this is probably moving to the same general direction as the other one. And so, there's a flash flood warning that's just been issued. We'll go to that in a second. So let's see. Let me put some town names on here. And again, there's no tornado warning for this zone, but it just looks kind of suspicious. So if you're watching from Norrington Crossroads, Luart, Mamers, Boone Trail, and Cokesbury, these are the arrival times of that little suspicious area getting to your location. And that looks like it's embedded in some very heavy rainfall. So let's go back to the radar, and you can see it's within that band. Right now, Norrington Crossroads is about to get some very heavy rainfall. If you're watching on Loop Road, Clark Road, Flat Branch Community, McNeil Hobbs Road, you're probably getting some very heavy rainfall right now, and that will likely make its way to Boone Trail, Shawtown, Luart, Seminole, Brickwood, and eventually up to Cokesbury and also Duncan and Cliviot Springs. So yeah, be aware of that. That's going to be the case. So here is our new flash flood warning, and it is quite extensive. And let's see, we've got flash flood warning for parts of Moore County. The tornado warning, I understand, at 122 has just expired, so that's no longer in effect, but the polygon is still showing up. So as soon as I go through the flash flood warning, we'll return to regular programming. But the flash flood warning is for southwestern Harnett County, northern Hope County, Lee County, Montgomery County, Moore County, Richmond County, parts of Scotland County until 5:15. The Doppler radar has indicated between 1 to 3 inches of rain, and another additional heavy rain is expected. So flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. If you live in a flood-prone area, you need to move yourself from that location or prepare to move yourself from that location in case flooding does come your way. And again, that flash flood warning is for an extensive area, a large number of people impacted. Again, the tornado warning has expired or been canceled early from the National Weather Service. It'll continue to show up on here probably till 1:30. It probably won't get it removed until its expiration time. But all this heavy rain will eventually rotate up to the north into Chatham County and then move across the triangle later this afternoon and evening. So these flash flood warnings will likely grow, and there could possibly be more tornado warnings. So that's how we stand right now. I'll be here, Grant Skinner's here, Chris Michaels is here. He'll be leaving shortly because he's been here since the crack of dawn and even before then. But we'll be here monitoring the radar. We'll cut in with any more tornado warnings. In the meantime, we'll continue to do live updates on WRAL News Plus. So join us over there. If there's a tornado warning, join us here on WRAL. Have a good afternoon. And that is the storm we're watching. We'll time-lapse this over the past 15 minutes, coming out of Pitt County and also northern Greene County, making its way into Wilson County. And again, the tornado warning is in effect for parts of Nash, Edgecombe, and Wilson County till about 2:15, moving northwest at about 25. So let me switch over to the velocities, and we see, yes, a little bit of a couplet showing up right about here between Fountain and Saratoga. And so we are seeing the raindrops here moving toward the radar site. These are moving away from the radar site, the reds, and so that's where you have your initial circulation showing up. Now, it is not a tight couplet that is showing up. Let me move over to Weather 2 so we can take that full screen. And as we zoom in, you can see it's between the Turnage community, Saratoga, Holden's Crossroads, Driver's Store. And again, this is until 2:15, so we got about 45 minutes that this is going on, and it's only moving northwest at about 25 miles per hour. So there's a few, not a well-defined circulation. You got this disjointed here, and then you've got this region here. So this whole spot is where a potential rotation is showing up. So let me broaden the view, and we will do a storm track from this initial location to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. We'll follow the route of the polygon and put some city names on. Give me 1 second. Whoop. Let me do that again because it didn't register. And there we go. So we're talking about Holden's Crossroads at 1:41 arrival time, Pine Tree at 1:46, the Wilbanks community at 1:47, Rosebud at 1:55, Elm City at 2:01, Dunn Crossroads at 2:03, Cobb's Crossroad at 2:04, Winstead Crossroads at 2:11, and Sandy Cross at 2:21. Those are the potential areas that would be impacted by this storm, at least the potential rotation as it continues to move to the north-northwest at about 25 miles per hour. So what I need you to do is get in your safe spot right now. If you're watching from Saratoga, Holden's Crossroads, the Pine Tree community, you need to get into your safe spot right now, and that's on the lowest level of a home or wherever you're at. Get into an interior room, be it a closet, a bathroom, make sure they don't have any windows. At my house, I've got a pantry that is away from, is in a safe spot, also a room underneath the stairs that's in the center of the house and does not have any windows, and it's a very small room. The more structurally sound the room, the smaller it is. So that is where we would recommend you to be in the event of a tornado coming on by. So again, we see this area under that tornado warning until 2:15. Let me clear this off. We'll go back in and we'll point out some locations. Aspen Grove, Church Road, Galloway Road, Piney Grove Church Road, Good News Church Road, Holden's Cross Road. These are the locations that are seeing where the rotation is right now, and you need to definitely be in your safe spot. There's a new scan that just came in, looking a little better organized. You can definitely see the reds have come together. So these reds are the raindrops that are moving away from the radar site, which is located near Clayton. And these are the raindrops moving toward. And so what we look for is a counterclockwise rotation that denotes low pressure. It's very small in nature. This is what a tornado is. It's on a small scale. And when it's really strong, you would see really bright reds against really bright greens. So what we're looking at here is a very weak rotation that is showing up on the radar. Let me jump over to see if there's any debris showing up. Probably not, because I don't think this would be something that's on the ground. And we're going through, and I don't see anything that looks all that suspicious. So that's certainly good news. Let's take a look at the shear. And so what we're looking at is the shear that's showing up in the atmosphere. And this is the route that it took. Started here and now has moved up here into Wilson County. So it started, looks like on the Greene and Pitt County line, and continues to make its way to the north and northwest. So that's what we call a rotation tracker, or on our computer here it's called the shear swath. And this is the shear rate where the current shear is located. And the current shear, very weak, as you can see from the legend. The shear is showing up, or rotation is showing up at Aspen Grove Church Road, and let's see some of these other roads, see if anything shows up, and nothing shows up there. Holden's Crossroads, Coles Mill Road, this general area is where the rotation is being detected. If it showed up as strong or extreme, I would definitely think there was a tornado on the ground, but since it's weak, there's probably not a tornado on the ground, but there's definitely a signature there that bears watching, because this could spin up even stronger than it was when the tornado warning was first issued. And you can definitely see where that rotation is. It's this area here. It's very broad in nature. It doesn't look like a tight couplet. And there's one little lightning strike here, so it doesn't look like it's a strong system, but it is worth noting that there is some rotation that is showing up on the radar. So let me set the stage again. We'll go to the broad view. We'll turn on the reflectivity. We'll time lapse this, and you can see the bands of rain. And I had pointed this out during the last tornado warning that I wouldn't be surprised if this band continues to have any kind of spin up. This would be the kind of band that you would see that may have a potential tornado. There was another band over here earlier today that produced one tornado warning, and this could be the only tornado warning we see out of this band. There may be a few more. Just as long as this continues to rotate up to the north and west, it's encountering friction with the land, there's a little bit of a spin up, and then boom, you have a little tornado warning that is issued. And there's a possibility we could see more. Now let's go back to our area over here, because I had pointed out during our previous tornado warning, and I'm not going to forget you folks over in Wilson County. I'll go back and check out your tornado warning in just a moment, but I wanted to take a look at some of the other suspicious areas that I was looking at over Harnett County that have not necessitated a tornado warning. And again, it's this area here. Emergency management is reporting street flooding in Pinehurst. We'll go back to that in just a second. But the band right here over Harnett County is all moving toward the north and to the northwest, and that's where the very heavy rainfall is, and that's where there's just suspicious areas showing up on the velocities here. Let's punch over to Pinehurst. Street flooding being reported by emergency management in Pinehurst. And let me punch that up and see what it is. So here's a picture from Jared Bird in Pinehurst, and you can see the street flooding that is occurring there. The flash flood warning is in effect for that area. Let's go back and take a look at that. I'll highlight it. That's until 5:15 this afternoon, and all that heavy rain that has caused that flash flood warning is continuing to move to the north and northwest. And I had mentioned earlier, from looking at some of the high resolution model data, that this will continue to head in this direction and then eventually turn to the north and to the northeast. So the thinking is that the core of this heavier rain may at some point make its way through Durham and Chapel Hill and Raleigh, and then points northward heading into the evening. So that's something we have to be aware of and cognizant of the fact that all this heavier rain could shift into more urban areas, which would be more prone to flooding. And so if you're going to plan to be out and about late this afternoon and early evening, you definitely have to pay close attention to the weather because we do have that potential for more flooding throughout the area through the evening. And I think finally after midnight, we'll get rid of the system and then things will be okay. And tomorrow should be a quieter day from what I've looked at on the models. And what I had mentioned on Friday, it looked like we will see a lesser chance of rain during the day tomorrow. So here is the wide view once again. That tornado warning that was in effect for Moore County was expired early about 1:24, and we have this tornado warning now that's over Wilson County and parts of Edgecombe County. That's until 2:15, so let's zoom back in and see the very heavy rain is over Elm City right now, Macclesfield, Pine Tops, the Fountain community, all seeing the heavy rainfall. Let me switch over to the velocities. And there is that little suspicious area, again, potential rotation that's showing up in the far southeastern part of Wilson County. Let me zoom in a little bit closer and I'll put on another storm track and see what communities, Holden's Crossroads, Driver's Store, Pine Tree, Webb's, all these communities are in the zone of the tornado warning. And there's a new scan that came in and it's not looking any stronger than it was. It's very weak signature that's showing up, but these systems tend to be weak, brief, could spin up something really quick and then weaken really quickly. So in between scans, something could perhaps strengthen, and then by the time we get the next scan, could weaken just a little bit. But that's the way it's looking right now. We'll continue to go back in. Holden's Crossroad, also the Good News Church Road, Piney Grove Church Road, Gardner's School Road. Those are all the areas that would have the rotation over them right now. Also getting into the Bridgers community, Wilbanks, Pine Tree, Holden's Crossroads. This is the area that has the greatest threat right now. Farther up to the north, Elm City, you're not in the threat as of right now, but this is heading in your direction and will continue to be on the air until this either expires or is canceled early. But it looks like it should continue to make its way up toward Elm City over the next few, about a half hour to, over the next half hour. Let me do a new storm track. From the center of circulation here, 25 miles per hour. Ooh, let's stop it at 23. Holden's Crossroads at 146, Pine Tree at 151, Wilbanks at 151, the Rosebud community at 201, Elm City at 206, Cobb's Crossroad at 209, Winstead Crossroads 218, Sandy Cross at 227, and Bachelor Crossroads at 240. These are approximate arrival times of the potential rotation. The radar indicated tornado could be making its way into your community. Give me 1 second, I need to get a swallow of water so my voice doesn't give out between now and 2:15 when this expires. So again, it's 1:45 right now, it's 2:15 when we see the expiration of this tornado warning. Let me go back out to the expanded view. We'll put the radar back on. And so if you're just joining us, we are seeing what is left of Chantal making its way through the Sandhills right now, and it has a very heavy core of rainfall over Moore County into Lee County and parts of Harnett County. And this has prompted flash flood warnings. You see the big aerial coverage between Harnett County, Hope County, also Montgomery County, Richmond County, and Moore County. That's until 5:15. And we have reports of street flooding that is occurring in Pinehurst right now. More of the urban areas will have issues because more concrete, it'll run off and it'll tend to cause more flooding. The concern is over the next few hours, if this does make a turn to the north and to the northeast and heads across the triangle, we may be looking at greater flooding threat within the triangle later this afternoon and also this evening. So let me stop this. We'll take a look at rainfall rates over here in the Sandhills. Let me change over to rainfall rate and take a look. What is that? Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. And so Grant has put up the 3-hour rainfall totals. There are totals over the far western part of Hope County, 7.2 inches. These are our Doppler radar rainfall estimates. 3 inches over Southern Pines, Farther to the south in Scotland County, 4.2 over Laurinburg, Hope Mills, 3.1, parts of eastern Hope County, 3.4. So yeah, there's been some very heavy rainfall, and that heavy rainfall is now shifting into Moore County and eventually into Chatham County. So we're going to see increasing rainfall totals going into the afternoon. Thanks, Grant, for that. And that will continue to spread northward. So what we're looking at now is what we call the rainfall rates, and I'll put some numbers on here. And so over, that was at 1:47, that is the current time. And so we're seeing rainfall rate of 7.2 inches per hour over northern Hope County, parts of Moore County 4.5, over here in southern Lee County about 3 inches, and southern part of Moore County about 4.5 inches per hour. And since it's moving slowly to the north and northwest at about 15, we're going to see the rain gauges really fill up quickly in this area. Let's go back to the radar, and you can see the rain covering Carthage and Southern Pines, getting up to Sanford, and then farther north in Siler City, we see that heavy rainfall as well. But back over here in the Triangle, most of the rain we're seeing is light. Holly Springs, Fuquay Varina, not seeing that much in the way of heavy rainfall. When I was getting into the car coming into work earlier, the rain was coming down torrentially, and then it just came to an end. So it didn't last all that long. But what we're seeing in here is just constant, very heavy rainfall that will likely exacerbate the flooding that's probably already occurring in that area. And we have to be aware that here in Raleigh and Apex and over toward Farrington Village and Bayleaf up in northern Wake County and Creedmoor and Butner and Stem, this could be heading our way later this afternoon. So we do have the potential all across the area for flash flooding heading into the late afternoon and evening hours. So I'm trying to punch up different sources to see what I can find. Let's go over to Weather 4 and take a look at some of the rainfall totals over the past 24 hours. 4.68 in Lumberton, 3.1 in Hope Mills. Clinton has seen 1.72, Irwin 1.2, Goldsboro half an inch, and Sanford almost a half an inch of rain. And it's continuing to come down in Sanford. It's not going to end there anytime soon, and perhaps the rainfall intensity will be going up shortly. Let me go back to the wide view and do a reset and do a time lapse. Let me time lapse this over the past 2 hours. Excuse me, and you can see how the circulation of what's left of Chantal is moving through the sandhills. That's that counterclockwise rotation. It's a broad area of rotation or of low pressure, and now tornado is a very small scale area of rotation or low pressure, and that's why we have that tornado warning that's in effect for parts of Wilson County and Edgecombe County until about 2:15. So I'm going to jump over to the Weather Service and see if they have anything new to say in their chat, and I don't see anything there. And the tornado warning does continue until 2:15, so they're continuing to monitor things just like we are as well. So let me jump over to other source. That's Weather 3. Give me 1 second. Tornado warning? Yeah, that's that suspect area that I thought we were going to see. So, wow, it's a broad area. Okay, so now we have two tornado warnings. The one over Wilson County that expires at 2:15, and we have the new tornado warning in that suspect area that I was watching about a half hour ago over parts of Harnett County and Lee County. That's until 2:30. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Lillington, moving west at about 45 miles per hour. Boy, that's much faster than the one we saw earlier over parts of Hoke and Moore counties. So this is the area we're watching, and again, it's the area that I was concerned about, the broad rotation area here, moving over to the Lillington area, and there might even be a little bit of green showing up. Yeah, so that's probably what they're cueing on right there. The greens butted up against the reds. So we have this area here near Lillington that there's an initial area of rotation showing up near Shawtown and the Lillington area that has probably necessitated the tornado warning. And then we have these other little areas, perturbations in the atmosphere that they're probably watching. But this is the initial one that they probably issued the tornado warning from. So let's zoom in, take a look at some street names. So we're talking about West Old Road, South Main Street. We're over downtown Lillington now. That's where the greatest rotation is setting up shop. So if you're watching from Lillington, you are in the tornado warning right now. That is until 2:30. And you need to be in your safe place. We're talking about Ivy Street, Front Street, Hillside Drive, the Duncan Street area, Lower Lane, all in the rotation area. So what we're looking at, and we pointed out many times before, the greens are the raindrops moving toward the radar, and the reds are the raindrops moving away. So we're seeing somewhat of a rotation showing up right over Lillington right now, and that is moving toward the west at 45 miles per hour. So let me do a storm track from that location and see what communities are impacted. West.
And Mike, they've got me set up now on the wall, so if you need.
Okay, we'll toss over to Grant
Yep.
in just 1 second after I do the storm track. Let me, I got stuck. I'm gonna have to do a broader view. West of 45 miles per hour. And let me turn on some names, city names, and that didn't show up. Give me 1 second. One second. For some reason, it is not working out. So in the meantime, let's toss over to Grant. Grant's standing at the wall at the podium, and he's got more information to share with us. Grant?
Yep, and I'm over near Elm City, east of Wilson. I'm tracking that tornado warning that is still issued for areas again, just to the west of Macclesfield. It's moving to the north and west. Right now, it looks like that off shear rate, it's not looking as prominent in terms of the rotation there. Typically with this product, you're looking for an S-shaped signature. So it looks like a little S in the green here. And right now is a small signature, but it's not looking as prominent in this area as it moves northwest towards Elm City, but still a possible tornado in this area. So if you're along 301 towards Elm City and point to the north and west, go ahead and be in your safe place, lowest interior portion of your home, and move away from windows. It looks like this is going to move just to the northeast of 264, but if you're along 42, 301 up towards Elm City and those areas closer to that area, you need to make sure you're in your safe place. I also want to show you one more time another check on that flash flood warning. Looks like they allowed it to expire there. It's not popping up here on my, oh, there it is. Looks like it's playing out there, so I'm actually going to turn that off for you. But still watching those areas that are back towards Hoke, Lee counties, and back towards Carthage, Taylortown, Southern Pines, with a flash flood warning still in place. And I want to show you once again that 3-hour rain rate is pretty impressive in these spots back towards Southern Pines, where flash flooding is likely ongoing, up to 6.2 inches near Southern Pines, Pine Bluff at 5.5 inches, Hoffman at 6.6, Troy at 2.1 inches, Carthage at 1.84 inches, back towards Rayford, Hoke County, 3.7 inches. So some pretty impressive rainfall totals just over the past few hours as these storms have worked their way north and west. Again, this is Chantal, again, weakening over time, but still a lot of tropical moisture over the area. So still bringing a pretty significant amount of rain to southwestern portions of our area, but still tracking that tornado warning up towards Lillington, Sanford. We're going to keep a close eye on that. There's a couple of suspect areas there that could drop a tornado at any time. I'm going to actually zoom in on that. You can see there's multiple areas just southeast of Sanford, and I'm going to switch over to the radar to look at the velocity product here. You also have a few areas near Lillington, just to the northwest as well. Southeast of Sanford, there's an area to watch. So all of these spots here, you need to keep a close eye on this, as we could see a possible spin up. And you're seeing on the right side of your screen now a camera pulled up, and that's showing rainfall already falling over Sanford. And we'll likely see more rain here in the next 15 to 20 minutes as the storm works its way closer to the area. So right now it's not over Sanford, but here in the next 10 to 15 minutes, tornado warning already issued for you, and you could see this move over shortly. And with that, again, a couple of areas to watch. So we could see a couple of areas spin up, and that's why we're tracking these areas really closely. I'm gonna check shear rate one more time and kind of take a look and see. Yeah, right now, again, I mentioned the S shape we're watching for. Right now, it's more of these hook shapes, which would likely mean more of like winds gusting out with these storms. But we'll have to watch these closely. They could spin up at any time along this batch of showers and storms as they work their way northwest closer to Sanford. and more areas to the west. Again, tornado warning issued for a broad area until 2:30 p.m. this afternoon. So this goes on for another 34 minutes. So we're going to keep a close eye on this, and also the flash flood warning for a lot of western portions of our area, and also one more tornado warning is still in place for portions of Wilson County up towards Rocky Mount, Nash County as well, included in this. Tornado warning still in place again until 2:30 for towards Sanford, Lillington included in this tornado warning as well, and then one more tornado warning to the north and east. This is over just to the southwest of Rocky Mount. It's over Elm City, and I'm going to check shear rate real quick and see how that's looking. It's still a broad area south and east of Elm City. Again, I mentioned folks along 301 up towards areas just northeast of Wilson still need to be in your safe place, as we could see a possible spin up at any time. But that's really the only area we're watching there up towards Wilson and Elm City. Lillington, just northwest of Lillington, a couple of areas we're watching just east of Sanford as well, where we could see a brief spin up at any time. And this is heading towards Sanford. So folks that are towards Sanford, anywhere in this polygon here, you need to be in your safe place, because a spin up tornado could happen at any time. And so you want to make sure in that lowest interior portion of your home, away from windows, take your phone with you if you can. WRAL News Plus, that's a great way to watch the warning while it's happening, so you can be away from the TV. Having the weather app is really important also for any of the latest alerts. So you may not be in the warning right now, but you could have a warning issued at some other point throughout the course of this afternoon and evening. So make sure you have multiple ways to get warnings, including a NOAA weather radio. Make sure it has batteries. It should already have batteries now, but make sure it's charged and ready to go, as there are multiple warnings in place still. This is over Lillington now. Again, I think the main rotation spot is just to the northwest of Lillington, and it's now moving north and west closer to Highway 87, 421, really along 421 up towards Sanford. We're still seeing pockets of heavy rain in there, so it could have some flash flooding. And on top of that, some brief spin-ups are possible along this batch of showers and storms. Check shear rate one more time. I'm checking this shear rate product a lot because I'm watching to see if there are any new areas of spin. Looks like it's still just northwest of Lillington, and to the areas to the north and west, there are still a couple of spots to watch for. These are smaller areas, likely just some brief wind gusts as these storms continue to work their way north and west. And you can see that camera now over Sanford showing still some rain coming in. I'm going to pull up reflectivity so you can see this reflectivity kind of looks at where we're seeing these pockets of heavier rain. You can see these reds indicating all the heavier rain all the way down through Lillington, and these are working their way north and west closer to 42 and all along 421. I mentioned just stay off the roads if you're in that area, because we're going to have some flash flooding possible as these storms work their way through, and also the possibility of a brief spin-up tornado. I'm not seeing a lot of lightning with these. We had a lot of cloud cover throughout the day, and I think it's allowed for less energy for some stronger storms. Now, we're still in the northeast side of Chantal, what's weakening of Chantal, so there's possibilities we can have brief spin-ups, and that's why we're having some tornado warnings here. But they're not overly powerful storms. So they're still packing some heavy rainfall, still packing some possible rotation, but you're not seeing big lightning producers like we've seen with some other storms. If I have the lightning detector on, I'm just not seeing very much. The majority of the lightning is going to be in any storms closer to the coastline. I've had a bit more break in the cloud cover throughout the day, a bit more storm energy for some of those big lightning producers back towards Greenville and areas to the south and east. And then still watching that area towards Wilson and Elm City. Still a lot of heavy rainfall there. I want to zoom out and kind of show you what else is happening across the area, kind of give you an update on this. If you're in the triangle up towards Durham, Raleigh, back towards Chapel Hill, anywhere to the south and southwest Wake County as well, mainly just light showers. So not seeing any areas of rotation. These are just some weaker showers. As this moves its way north and northwest, we could see on the northeast side some brief spin ups. So still watching for that over the next few hours. And also, as you can see, all this heavy rainfall back towards Southern Pines, as that continues, we could also see more flash flood warnings issued. Right now, there's still a very broad flash flood warning issued through Southern Pines, towards Rockingham as well, for Scotland County, towards Hoke, Lee County is included in this, Harnett County is included in this as well, Moore County over towards parts of Montgomery County as well. all these areas. It's a very broad area, but you can see why. All this heavy rain that's now through Sanford, and also you can see that camera now, it's at Southern Pines, a pretty significant amount of rain. And with that, we're seeing some areas where there's at least some ponding, if not more flooding across the area. And we're going to see more of that as these storms work their way through. This system is weakening, but still bringing a lot of tropical moisture. And so with that, you're going to have the possibility for flash flooding in several spots. So tornado warning still in place. I know I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. We got a lot of warnings, and some are flash flood warnings, some are tornado warnings, a couple of tornado warnings still in place now. The area I'm watching really closely are some of these suspect areas just to the northwest of Lillington. It looks like they're just gusting out, but we could see a brief spin up just southeast of Sanford along 421. We've showed that camera a few times. Right now, just some spotty rain there, but some heavier downpours will work their way through soon, and you could have a brief spin up. This is going to be anywhere close to the Brickwood community, Seminole, Lawrence Road, Buckhorn Road, Evans Ferry Road as well, down towards Meadow Park and Sandley Park as well are included in this tornado warning. Anywhere along 421 up towards Jonesboro Heights and Sanford, and McCracken Heights as well, Colon, and looks like what else is up to the north and west? A tramway as well. That's all included in this tornado warning. And I'm looking at this rotation detector to just see if there are any new spots that pop up where we're going to have some possible rotation over the next little while. So you'll see me bounce between products, just trying to see if the rotation has changed at all in any of these storms. Regardless, you're going to see heavy rain. If you're within this pocket of showers and storms that's all the way down through Carthage and Southern Pines, you're going to have heavy rain. And I mentioned last night on all the broadcasts that the biggest concern with a lot of these showers and storms is going to be training showers and storms sitting over areas. And we're noticing, especially close to the center of Chantal, or weakening Chantal, you're having these pockets of heavy rain that are rotating and they're just sitting over spots. And because of that, flash flood warning is a big concern. Flash flood warnings are a big concern, flash flooding across the area. And I also mentioned last night that level 2 of 4 flood risk. And with that, we could have pockets of at least isolated flash flooding, but it could become more scattered across the area as we get more pockets of heavy rain like this. This is reflectivity showing you those areas in red, all the heavy rain over parts of the area. And I'll go back to dual Doppler 5000 as well to show you some of the heaviest rain back towards Lillington, Coates as well, all the way northwest along 421 up towards Sanford. Still a lot of heavy rain in addition to the possibility of a brief spin-up tornado. So I'm going to go back to this product here and let's look at that rotation one more time. And I'm going to bounce back to that warning that's up towards Wilson. And this is just to the southeast of Elm City. And it looks like there's still a broad area to watch for. So folks that are still, it's a Wilson camera we're going to pull up here. You can see a lot of the low cloud cover continues there. I was watching that a little while ago, and it was pretty quiet there. Maybe some brief showers, and now there's some heavier downpours trying to work their way just to the northeast of Sanford. So it's, or Wilson, excuse me. So you're going to see some downpours in the area there, but this warning is just to the northeast of Wilson and is moving closer to Elm City. So low cloud cover over Wilson. You're not included in the warning polygon unless you're on the northeast side of Wilson, closer to 264 up towards Elizabeth Heights and Rosebud. Lake Wilson Road is included in that tornado warning. Elm City Road South, East Langley Road as well. Cobb's Cross Road is included in this tornado warning. And I believe that rotation was just to the north or just to the west of Pender's Cross Road. So I'm watching this area right here. And it's moved to the north and west. It looks like it's more of a U shape, so we could have some gusting out here happening. But still, if you're in Elm City, Cobb's Crossroad along 301 up towards 58 as well in this warning polygon, be sure to be in your safe place, lowest interior portion of your home, away from windows. That can be a closet, it might be a bathroom on the interior portion of your home. Have a helmet if you can to protect yourself from possible debris from these tornadoes. I've noticed that on correlation, that hasn't shown a whole lot today. I think these are just brief areas of spin that could possibly drop a tornado, and if they're going to, it's going to be extremely brief because these are not extremely powerful storms. And I'm not noticing anything. I'm going to check real quick and see if we have any new reports from the Weather Service, and not seeing anything new from them. But still watching several areas where we could have, I think flash flooding is probably the biggest concern to the south and west, but also with that, some brief spin-ups are going to be possible throughout the course of this afternoon and evening. especially on the northeast side of the center of Chantal as it continues to weaken. And you can see these little areas here north of Lillington, north of 421, these pockets of green here on our rotation detector where it's noticing something there. It's likely weak rotation, but we could see something spin up over the next little while. So we're going to keep a close eye on that still. I'm actually going to go back to our accumulation here and look at our rain rates, or look at rainfall totals, because this has really picked up over the past little while. I'm going to change to 6 hour because some of this could have been a little bit earlier. But from Lumberton all the way up through Southern Pines, Laurinburg as well, Rockingham, still a lot of areas that have seen a pretty significant amount of rainfall. There are multiple flood warnings in place for all these areas. So you need to be mindful of this. So again, there's a lot of areas that have seen significant amount of rainfall. Mike, I'm going to cut it back to you, and we're going to get a breakdown of what's going on radar right now and also some more tornado warning coverage.
Yeah, and I was going to storm track those tornado warnings. So again, we're in the broad view. We're covering the Chantal moving through this afternoon. We anticipated the possibility, and when we were talking on Friday, of the storm making its way into North Carolina, that there could be some tornado warnings. We still have the one here in Wilson County, parts of Edgecombe County until 2:15. I'm suspecting that will probably get extended into Nash County. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then, of course, we have the tornado warnings here for Harnett County getting into Lee County. That's until about 2:30. Let's go back over to what is happening in Wilson County, and I'll zoom in. And the reason why I suspect that it'll probably get it farther into Nash County than it already is, let's jump over to the velocities, and we'll go back in time so you can see the track of this, or how it's gone through time. There's 147. Doesn't look all that organized, but over time it's looking like it's trying to get a little better organized, especially right here. This is a little concerning just south of Elm City because the couplet in this latest scan looks a little bit tighter than what we've been seeing the whole time it's been in Wilson County. Raindrops here are moving away from the radar site. These are moving toward the radar site. So our couplet has tightened up. And again, it's a little concerning. It makes me wonder if this is trying to make its way to the ground. There's the latest scan. Let me go back, and you can see a little bit more impressive there. The latest scan, not quite as much, but this could waver back and forth between looking stronger and weaker. The reason why I said I was concerned it was going to make its way farther into Nash County is because the couple looked a little bit more impressive. So this is moving toward the, let me double check. This is moving to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. So I'll do a storm track from this location here, 25 miles per hour. So this does extend or take it into farther into Nash County. Let me put some towns. So we're talking about it being in Elm City at 2:10, which is 1 minute from now. Winstead Crossroads at 2:20, Sandy Cross at 2:29, Bachelor Crossroads at 2:40, Edwards Crossroads at 2:56. So this would take it deeper into Nash County. I've had no indication from the National Weather Service that this would be extended deeper into Nash County, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was, unless it quickly falls apart. But that's how this one stands right now. And as Grant's been showing you the shear rate or the rotation, so let me turn this mess off, and we can go through time, and you can see how the shear comes and goes. This is the rotation, and looking a little bit weaker in the latest scan. And you can see the swath of this started over here in Pitt County, made its way here into Wilson County, and now this is where it's currently located, just on the edge of Elm City. So that's what we're seeing right now. It's continuing to move in this general direction, and we'll continue to watch to see if this tornado warning gets extended farther into Nash County. So let's bop over here to what's happening in Harnett County, and this is what we've been watching since we've been on the air, the potential rotation. So rotation, little rotation center showing up in several locations. There's one here, there's one near Coates, this is the one at Lillington, and this is one here near just to the south and west of Columbiate Springs. And if we put the velocities on, you can see that's pretty much where we're seeing little couplets, little baby couplets showing up, where you see the reds butted up against the green. and that one here, and then there's a little bit here. So this is on the edge of the convection that is moving rapidly to the west and northwest at about 45 miles per hour. So if you're sitting underneath these cells, you're probably having some gusty winds right now. You're definitely getting torrential rainfall, tropical rainfall, and it is probably raining to beat the band. This is on the doorstep of Anger, on the doorstep of Duncan and Cliviot Springs, soon to be in Fuquay Varina, and it is also over in Carolina Trace and the Sanford community. Let me time lapse this over the past half hour, and you can see the movement is generally making its way into southern, or getting closer to southern Wake County. So we are likely to see the heavy rainfall move into Fuquay Varina, Holly Springs, New Hill, getting over to Moncure, eventually over to Jordan Lake and Pittsboro. And we could be looking at rainfall rates of 2 to 3 inches per hour. So as of right now, there are no flood advisories or flash flood warnings for this zone here, just that tornado warning that's in effect until 2:30. But we are seeing Hope County report of flash flooding in the Bowmore community. Norton Road is flooded and closed due to floodwaters, and this was reported at 1:42. So Hope County is in the flash flood warning area, and as Grant was saying, and I've been saying as well, we'll likely see this heavier rainfall shift up to the north, and as I've been saying, to the north and to the northeast, and eventually be making its way more into the Triangle area. And it's more of an urban location, especially downtown Raleigh and downtown Chapel Hill and Durham and Cary as well. And so you're likely to see more of the way of flooding, and hopefully not urban flooding. We've seen some nasty flooding over time in downtown Raleigh, and I'm hoping we don't see that with this situation here. But we are all under the flood watch till later on tonight, with the potential of this remnants or the leftovers of Chantal coming through the area. So that's the way we look right now. Grant standing by, he's got to look at the 3-hour rainfall total, and there's been plenty of rain. I was looking at the HER model this morning, and it was indicating like 10 inches of rain possible in some locations.
Yeah, I know. That's why I mentioned last night,
Right.
like the broad locations going to see 1 to 4, 5, 6 inches, but the problem is with some pockets of heavier rain, you're going to see the possibility of some areas seeing locally higher amounts. That's why I mentioned last night 1 to 4 plus inches with some locally higher amounts. And that's what we're seeing here. I'm zoomed in now. This is on Norton Road. This is the area that's closed off now because of flooding.
They've expired the tornado warning for Edgecombe, Nash, and Wilson County, so apparently it's not going to get extended in Nash County. So I just want to let you know.
All right, good. That warning's been expired. That's good. So now along Norton Road, just to the northwest of Bowmore, there's still an area closed now. That road's closed off, and you can see radar estimated 6.8 inches. So a pretty significant amount of rain over the past just 3 hours. I'm going to check 6 hour. Now 7.2 inches in the past 6 hours. That's probably the past 4 hours or so as those storms have worked their way north and west. And it's just becoming more and more significant across these areas. And we mentioned this is going to be a big concern. Locally, it's not going to be, we're not going to see huge wind impacts. This isn't a super strong tropical system. The biggest thing is going to be rainfall sitting over spots and causing flash flooding concerns over much of the area. And that's what we're still seeing across mainly southwestern portions of our area, back towards Hoke, Lee counties, up towards also far western portions of the area, back towards Moore County as well, seeing flash flooding. Parts of Harnett County is seeing flash flooding ongoing. So if you encounter this flash flooding, just make sure to turn around, don't drown. It's a big thing to remember. Don't try to drive through flooded waterways. Try to find a way to either go around it altogether or turn around and just go in the other direction, and don't even try to drive through it. It's not worth it. I used to live in an area that had a lot of low-lying areas, and with that, flooding happened pretty frequently, and you could see as it quickly rose, it becomes very dangerous, very fast to drive through those waters. So don't even try to do it. Just turn around, don't drown. That's a big thing to remember. All these areas in yellow are between 4 and 6 inches of rain over the past 3 to 4 hours. I'm going to put on the 3-hour rainfall, putting that back on, and you'll see it's mainly over the past 3 hours. I've seen the majority of this rain up towards Candor, around 1.5 to 2.5 inches over the past 3 hours. Southern Pines, 4 to 6 inches as well. And we're also still tracking a tornado warning up towards Lillington and Sanford that we need to keep a close eye on. And I think Mike still has that pulled up. And have you noticed any changes with that tornado warning, Mike?
There's one little interesting area that Chris and I were talking about making its way into Lee County. The little bit of a couple. Let's go back over and take a look at this area here. And Chris was saying near Broadway, just to the east of Sanford, there's a little bit of green showing up against the reds, and this is one of the areas that we watch, or the signatures that we watch for a potential tornado. And this is all embedded in that band of heavy rain that is currently cruising through northern Harnett County, rotating up to the north. It'll soon be over the Moncure area, over Harris Lake, over New Hill, and eventually farther over toward the airport in northern Lee County. But there's that one little suspicious area. So let's take this full screen if we can, so we can get a better look at this, and I'll stop the time lapse. And so, just like I said, a little suspicious area. And of course, it is within the tornado warned area. And this tornado warning goes for another about 15, 14 minutes now. So we're talking about Brickwood and the Seminole area and Meadow Park. Let's zoom in and get a few of the roads. Buckhorn Road, Shoe Road, also Copeland Road, Lawrence Road. This is the area that's seeing kind of like a little suspicious rotation showing up. That's just one of many. We back up here farther into Harnett County, just near Kipling. You see this area. Now, it's not our typical looking couplet where we see the reds against the greens, but there's some like perturbation, could be a little rotation showing up, little signature showing up that could spin up into something. That's why we got to keep a close eye on it. There are a couple more over here near Bowie's Creek and Barclaysville, just north of the Coates area, and I'll highlight these. One little perturbation showing up here, another one here. There could even be another one back here. So with all this, there's little spin-ups that are occurring. Now, if you've ever been in a swimming pool, and when I was a kid, I used to take a Frisbee in the swimming pool, and I would run it through the top of the water, and once you saw it move on by, you see these little swirls come up. That's basically what this is doing. As the little band is going on by, it's producing little swirls in the atmosphere, and that's just showing up in the form of these little shear zones. And so we take a look at the shear rates, and all these little spins are showing up. Now, they're not necessarily spinning up into tornadoes, but we've got to watch them because they're like a little spin-ups, so to speak, a little potential areas, if you will. And so this extends from Four Oaks between Coates and Anger and to the northwest of Lillington. And we've got more over here. This is the one that's over into Lee County. And so the tornado warned area is just from Lillington over to Sanford right now. So these little perturbations showing up are not in the tornado warned area, but you got to wonder and keep an eye on it, because if these continue to grow, and you see the new scan just came in, and so the shear rate has just jumped too strong over in this area here. So that's one of the little perturbations we're watching out for. So that's gives meteorologists clues to, there's something going on here, and so it bears watching. But all these may not potentially develop into something, but they just bear watching. And so let me zoom into this area. So this one is along I-40. There's McGee's Crossroads over to Johnston County. This little spin, perturbation, Langdon Road, Ridge Road. Again, this is outside the tornado warned area. This is not a tornado warning. There's not a tornado on the ground, but it's just a suspect area that we're watching. Hardy Crossroads over toward Barclaysville. And then you got another one over here, Northwest 55 West. And so just a little suspect areas, but right now this is the tornado warned area between Lillington and Sanford, and we put the velocities back on and looking for signatures, and you just notice that we're not seeing the kind of signature that we saw over there in Wilson County, where you had the strong greens against the strong reds. And so we'll continue to monitor this closely. There could be also something over here that bears watching near Cameron. So let me zoom in. Not to say that this is going to spin something up, but this is something that we sit up and take notice, just to the west of Lemming Springs over White Hill. And that's on the edge of the tornado warned area. Now, while I'm here, before we toss it back to Grant, because he's going to talk more about the rain, because I see him setting that up, I wanted to show you what happened with this over here in Elm City. And I told you, I thought, it would get extended farther into Nash County. And the signature looked really decent, because you could see right there at 204, the definitive reds against the greens, which would show a little couplet. And as we got new scans, it just fell apart. And so now we don't see the reds anymore. We just see the greens, which are raindrops moving toward the radar site, okay? But we don't see anything moving away. So we've lost that rotation. So that's why the tornado warning has been dropped. And it's amazing how quickly that just fell apart. And that's how these things are. They spin up quick and they die down quickly, and boom, it is gone. But we will watch, because this could spin back up. So we'll keep our eyes on this location here. We'll look at the shear rate, don't see anything. The shear swath, it ended just that last scan that I said, hey, that looks more impressive. And then after that, it just kind of went boom, fell apart. So that is great news. We have had no damage reports from any of these. That is certainly good news too. Let's hope we don't have any damage reports throughout the afternoon. I doubt this is going to be the last tornado warning that we see through the afternoon, but let's just hope that we don't see any kind of damage from this. Just a little nerve-wracking because we don't like tornado warnings. After what we saw on April 16, 2011, a lot of folks have anxiety over tornado warnings, just like the folks over in the mountains. Every time it pours now since Helene has hit, every time it rains heavily and they see some flooding, the anxiety ramps up. And unfortunately, that's just the case, the way weather has been with us lately. So we'll time-lapse the radar, and you can see the very heavy rainfall just sitting over Moore County. And the rainfall rate's 2 to 3 inches per hour. In some locations, it could be even more than that. But that's enough to keep them in the flash flood warning. That's until 5:15. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets extended. And other areas like Harnett County and Chatham County, as all this shifts up to the north, may get added to some kind of flood advisory or flash flood warning. So Grant, we've got a short time left, about 10 minutes until this tornado warning expires. Hopefully this will be the last one throughout the afternoon. I know you've been looking at rainfall totals, and that really is going to be the big story out of this system.
Yeah, and you can see still across the entire area, a good dose of rainfall has already fallen off back to the east, back towards Greenville, but the majority of the rain has fell over portions of Sanford, back towards Fayetteville, Lumberton, and southwestern portions of the area. And this is a broad view of radar. So right now over Wake County, some light showers, still falling light showers up towards Durham County, Orange County, up to the north as well, up towards Alamance. Also Vance County seeing some light showers as well. Up towards Warren, Franklin counties, there are pockets of heavier rain, but still not a lot of training showers and storms, but you could still see more of that. So be mindful of that over the next few hours as you see more rainfall. But I want to take a look at a few of these graphics. These are showing the 6-hour rainfall. Now, the majority of this has been just in the past few hours, but some of it has been the past 4, maybe 4.5. So I put it back over 6 hours. Down towards Fairmont, also Lumberton, around 5.5 inches there, 5.2. Some other spots, Laurinburg at 3.9 inches, Hope Mills at 3.9 inches as well, so close to 4 inches. Fayetteville around 2+ inches for a few spots there, 7.8 inches for areas just to the north and west, south of Southern Pines. Southern Pines has seen a whole lot of rain over the past little while, and I'm going to actually go over to our other totals here and the other flash flood warning. And you can see 2.8 inches down towards Hamlet, Southern Pines 5.5 inches, radar estimated, Carthage around 2 inches, Sanford about 1.5 to 2 inches there, Lillington also seeing between 2.5 to 3 inches. So all these pockets of heavier rain are continuing to fall as this moves north and northwest. So up towards Carthage, Troy, Sanford, you could see more flash flooding over the next little while. I know we're still tracking a tornado warning that's just to the south and east of Sanford right now. Well, it's over Sanford right now, but the rotation was just to the east of there. We could still see a brief spin up there, but the big thing we'll have to watch for the next little while, since that rotation's been weakening over the past about 15 minutes or so, is going to be flash flooding as these storms continue to work their way north and northwest. And Chris Michaels actually just dropped this in here for me, so I want to show you this. It talks about the power of floodwaters. It takes just 6 inches to sweep off your feet, a foot of rain to sweep a small car away, 18 inches, about a foot and a half, excuse me, for some of those larger cars. That tells you the power of floodwaters. Water is very powerful. It doesn't take a whole lot for your car to be swept away or for you to be swept away. So be very, very careful throughout the course of the rest of the day today. Water is very powerful. We saw those powerful floods over in Texas over the past few days that have caused some huge concerns towards the hill country, areas towards Austin. So they're still seeing flooding ongoing there. And again, that kind of shows you the power of water. Still having some issues with flooding here. Of course, not on that magnitude, but we could see areas that have quite a bit of rainfall over a short period of time, especially back towards Southern Pines, Sanford, that's already seen a whole lot of rain over the past little while. I know that, Mike, it's allowed to expire here in the short period of time here. Are you noticing any other areas of rotation up towards Wake County? Because I know we're watching that closely as well.
There's actually one suspect area that I'm watching watching in Johnston County right now that is right along I-40 around McGee's Crossroads. So it's outside of the tornado warned area. Let me stop the time lapse and we'll zoom in. And this area is starting to look a little bit more concerning, not only because of the velocities. Let me go back in time. And you can see how the reds are becoming a little bit brighter, which would indicate strengthening wind field there. But also you have the greens butting up against the reds. Now, not in the proper setup, because the greens are heading in that direction and the reds here. You would want more of the green to be here because that would be heading toward the radar site and this would be away. So we'll watch to see if this orients itself into the right setup to show some kind of rotation. But if you go over to the shear rate, it has really strengthened from what I showed you a short time ago. Actually, I pointed the one out closer to the Harnett County line, but this one seems to be strengthening even more. So let's zoom in here around McGee's Crossroads. So it's along Highway 50, there's I-40, there's Penny Road, there's Old Fairground Road, and this is heading toward McGee's Crossroads, Ennis Road, Dixon Road, farther up Highway 50, getting up to Highway 42, way up here. And then let's go over to, again, the velocities, and we zoom in, and there are the street names, McGee's Crossroads located right there. You can look at the shear swath, the rotation tracker, and you can see there have been a couple areas of rotation that have been showing up, not strong enough for the Weather Service to issue a tornado warning over, but that is a suspect area that I'm continuing to watch, like jumping through products here. There's some very heavy rainfall, no lightning strikes coming out of that area. We head back over here into the tornado warned area and turn the velocities back on. And there's really nothing that stands out. We're still seeing those, what we call little perturbations that have the potential to possibly spin up. And there's several of those embedded within that line of heavy rain that's moving through northern Harnett County right now. So if you're watching from Anger, especially, let's change over to the reflectivity, and you have very heavy rain coming down. So let's check out the communities that are getting huge downpours. We're talking about Anger, Calibiot Springs. The Calibiot Springs is one of those communities that you look at and you think, wow, how do you say that? And it's pronounced Calibiot Springs. I know Grant, when he first got here, we sat down and went through some of the community names, and one especially was Canita, which is spelled, you look at it, it looks like Conto. And so Calibiot Springs is one of those locations that looks different than it's pronounced. So we say hello to everybody in Calibiot Springs this afternoon. Hopefully you're staying dry. The Rawls community, seeing some of that heavier rain, Cokesbury in Harnett County as well. We see that heavy band of rain stretching over into Cologne, Sanford, Sanley Park, Berkeley Place, Jonesboro Heights, and
Warning expired.
Warning has expired. That is excellent news. So it looks like we are out of the woods for the moment, and you see that heavy rain continue over to Sanford. Now the warning has expired. It was set to expire at 2:30. The polygon will stay on the map until we get to 2:30. But as we expand the view, okay, we see the heavy rainfall falling through Moore County, and then we see that other band up here from Nash County through Edgecombe County all the way down east north of New Bern. And so we're going to watch out to see if there are new spins coming out of this band as it moves up to the north. Now I'm going to go look at the velocities once again, and we see the little perturbations. The tornado warning has expired. What I'm going to do, instead of beating a dead horse and just talking about the same thing over and over, I'm going to go back to programming, and Grant and I will continue to watch the radar. And if there are new tornado warnings, I don't see anything imminent as of right now, unless this area here along I-40 spins up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to programming. Grant and I are going to take a little bit of a break, and if anything spins back up, we have a new tornado warning, we will come back in. So in the meantime, that's the way it looks right now. Continued heavy rainfall from Chantal throughout the afternoon. We want you to be safe. Keep it here on WRAL, and we'll bring you the latest. Stay with us.
We interrupt this program for WRAL severe weather coverage.
Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Mays in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We have a new tornado warning to share with you for parts of Lee County and Chatham County. This just came in. For northwestern Lee County and western Chatham County, this is until 3:45, and this is all with Tropical Depression Chantal that's been with us through the morning and now into the afternoon hours. We've seen a few tornado warnings. So this is the aerial outline of the tornado warning for the northwestern portion of Lee County, also into Chatham County, which includes Siler City, parts of Pittsboro, Bear Creek, and Goldston. Let me jump over to the velocity so we can see any kind of rotation. We definitely do see that there. We see that couplet showing up, the familiar couplet that we're used to seeing. The green's butted up against the red, so we'll remind you that the green raindrops moving toward the radar, which is located near Clayton, and then the reds are the raindrops moving away. So we see definitive rotation, more than what we were seeing with those little perturbations earlier this afternoon that were rotating with that band over northern Harnett County and into Lee County. So this is showing up, looking a little bit more impressive. Let me time lapse this and then I'll do a storm track. So we'll go back in time 15 minutes. And you can see disorganization. There's nothing well defined there at 3:07, and we go through time, and you can see, boom, right about there. That's when the National Weather Service issued the tornado warning. We see more of a defined couplet. Now, as a reminder, in tropical systems like we're seeing today, this is not a surprise. I had mentioned this on Friday, that as tropical systems make landfall, the rotating bands have encountered friction with the land, creating little rotation or spins in the atmosphere, and you can have spin-off tornadoes, and that's what we're seeing. They typically are weak and brief. So far, we've had no damage reports out of any of the tornado warnings that we've had this afternoon, so hopefully this will remain the case. This was located near Goldston, or 7 miles south of Pittsboro, moving west at about 20 miles per hour. So let me broaden this out, and I'll do a storm track and see what communities will be impacted or will be in the path. So this is moving west at about 20 miles per hour, and nothing is showing up. So let me see if I can bring some cities up. Give me a second. Nothing's showing up there. So there we go. Let me see if I can bring up more towns. That looks about all that I'm going to get. So Goldston at 3:32, Bear Creek at 3:42, Johnson's Crossing at 3:46, the Bondley community at 3:50. That's the approximate arrival time. So if you are in this area, you need to get to your safe spot. Go to the lowest level of your house or your structure that you're in. Interior room would afford the safest shelter, a closet, a bathroom that doesn't have any windows. I've got a room underneath my staircase in the house at Apex. That's where I would go during a tornado warning, because the smaller the room in the house, the more structurally sound it is. So that's what you would need to do. So let me clear this off. We'll go into street level and see what streets are being impacted by this rotation, the circulation that's showing up. So if you're watching from Rosser Road, Henry Oldham Road, Reno Sharps Store Road, this is where the rotation is showing up right now. And again, it is moving to the west at about 20 miles per hour. So it is just to the east of downtown Goldston. And on this trajectory, this rotation would pass right in this vicinity here. And since it looks like a better defined couplet than we saw with the previous tornado warning over Harnett County, we'll watch this one closely. Shear rate is showing not all that impressive. Shear swath, you can see all the little bits of shear that we saw over Harnett County and Johnston County. When Grant and I were on TV just a short time ago, we were following all these little shear rates showing up, shear markers showing up in the atmosphere for Harnett County and Johnston County. They didn't develop into anything. And then we have this tornado warning over here for parts of Lee County and also Chatham County. And again, this runs until about 3:45. So we've got little time before this is set to expire. So again, if you're watching this area, you need to go to your safe spot, find shelter away from any windows on the lowest level of your home. Going back to reflectivity, very heavy rainfall falling in this area. So not only do we have the tornado warning, but we also have a flood advisory that was issued about 3:09. So let me pop that up and see if that shows up. And there it is. So it's lined up in this vicinity here. So that includes parts of Wake County, parts of Lee County, Chatham County. It looks like all of Chatham County is in the flood advisory. Let me bring this up. That's until about 6:15. Rainfall rates 2 to 3 inches per hour on more of a widespread basis, but there are some localized locations that are seeing 4 to 6 inches of rainfall per hour. So when you have a flood advisory, minor flooding is expected. When you have a flash flood warning, and let me bring that up till 5:15, that means flooding is ongoing, and we have that farther to the south over Southern Pines, Moore County, parts of Hope County, and also into Montgomery County. So a lot going on this afternoon, torrential rainfall, the potential for tornadoes. As the system weakens, the rotation will weaken in this, and hopefully we won't see any more tornado warnings as we head into the afternoon, but we're likely to see more flooding. You can see the camera there showing up over towards Southern Pines. Pinehurst is looking the same way, just ponding of water everywhere. We have reports of roads closed, just dangerous to be out. If you're watching from Moore County, just stay put until after 5:15 when we anticipate the flash flood warning to come to an end, because the rainfall rates will be slowing down after that point, and hopefully some of the water will finally run off. Although you take a look at the radar and there's still plenty of reds, yellows, and oranges in that area, so it looks like the heavy rain is going to continue for a while. And the thinking is the core of this heavier rain will be shifting up to the north and then eventually to the northeast. So some of this heavier rain will be making its way across parts of the triangle over the next few hours. Now, Grant is scanning the radar. Do you have anything to share with us, Grant?
Yeah, so I've been watching some of the storms that are moving over Wake County right now, because it's pretty active across the area, but some heavier downpours up towards Vance County as well, and up towards Alamance County, with those showers moving from east to west. But I'm looking at some heavier downpours now that are making their way through Wake County. These are just southwest of Raleigh, just southwest of the Loop, so these are just south of 40 right now, and 440. They're slowly working their way north, and so we'll see those heavier downpours move in here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Most of the showers are just west of Garner, back towards Apex, up towards Morrisville as well, right along 540. There are more downpours that continue there. And with these, I'm not noticing any areas of rotation, but the rain rates are very, very impressive within this batch of showers and maybe a couple of storms. All these areas in bright orange indicating 6 to 10 inches rain rate. And that's the view right now from, I think it's our Garner Tower camera there. And you can see the impressive amounts of rain coming down, a lot of low cloud cover as well as these showers work their way in. And we'll see more downpours continue over the next 15 to 30 minutes there, maybe even longer, depending on how long those bands of showers sit over the area. But again, the rainfall rates 4 to 6 inches in yellow, 2.5 to 4 inches in that area in red. So some impressive rain rates. Doesn't mean you're going to see 6 inches, but it's just saying if it sat over there for an hour, that's how much rain would fall. So it's just impressive to show how much rain could fall based off of how heavy those downpours are in the area. The good news is rotation detector over Wake County looking really sparse. Maybe a couple of spots where we have some brief wind gusts, but that's about it. Not too worried about any rotation within these showers and storms. Elsewhere to the north, Henderson, back towards Creedmoor, up towards areas in Alamance County. There are some heavier downpours working their way over 85 right now, moving west. Not tornadic, but just some heavier downpours, so could see some localized flooding there. And also, Mike was just talking about this, the impressive amounts of rain back towards Sanford, Carthage, Southern Pines, still a lot of downpours there. That's going to be an issue over the next little while. And a new warning there. Yeah.
Warning. Can we come back to me and point out this new severe thunderstorm warning that's come in? This has just been issued. Let me stop the time lapse. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado tag, meaning a tornado possible, set up in this line here from Apex over to Garner. Let me click on the warning so I can get more details from the National Weather Service. So this severe thunderstorm warning includes parts of Alamance County, southern Orange County, southwestern Wake County, southern Durham County, northeastern Chatham County. This is until 4:15. So they're saying severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from Garner to near Cary to near Pittsboro, moving north at about 20. A quick tornado could spin up along with this line of storms. The hazard with this line is 60-mile-per-hour winds. And it continues to move to the north again about 20 miles per hour. So not only do we have our tornado warning, we have the severe thunderstorm warning, and again, that is until 4:15. So embedded within this line, there could be a quick spin up. This is the line that we were watching about an hour ago, moving through northern Harnett County, that there was a little perturbations showing up that we were concerned that could spin up into tornadoes. So let's delve deeper inside this storm and see what's going on. And we are seeing little bits of green, little bits of red. And so if we go back to the other product that show these little perturbations, and you can see one here, there could be another one here, looks like there could be another one here. So the concern is, like what's happened over in Chatham County, that there could be a spin-up tornado, and which would warrant a tornado warning to be issued. And so that's why the Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm warning, and to get your attention, so to speak, that there is a potential out of this line, and also winds potentially gusting up to 60 miles per hour, because there does look like there are some decent pockets of wind here north and west of Apex, maybe a little decent pocket of wind just to the west of Garner, and here on the southern side of Raleigh on the belt line, and these are all moving up to the north. So that is what has warranted the issuance of that severe thunderstorm warning. So let me change over to the other velocities, and again, you can see all of these little bits. A little bit of green here, a little bit of perturbation here, and then of course we've got this over here. And so the Weather Service is watching this, and we're watching this too, because embedded in this band, since it's a tropical system, you could get in just one scan a quick spin up of a tornado, could spin up, touch the ground, and then pop back up into the clouds and be gone and cause damage, and then it goes away, and could show up quickly in one scan, and that's about it. So that's why we've got to have an eagle eye, so to speak, on this line that's coming through Wake County right now, and also over into Chatham County. So we switch over to the reflectivity, and very heavy rainfall, as Grant was mentioning, coming out of this line. Very impressive for Apex, getting over to Jordan Lake, over to Pittsboro, the Wilsonville area, now up to Morrisville, heading up to RDU. And I did have a camera set up. I did have our camera, the WRAL Garden Cam. Rain is not coming down here just yet, but I would expect it to be coming down here shortly. And when it does, that camera might be a little bit on the impressive side. So going back to the radar, so we're located on here right about here. So that heavy rain hasn't reached us yet, but it is coming. And over to western Wake, over to eastern Chatham, and into Pittsboro, that's where some of the heaviest rain is coming down right now. And Grant's got the rainfall rates, and they look really impressive, especially where you see those areas of orange, which are pretty widespread.
Yeah, it looks like areas seeing around 6 to 10 inches for the rain rate. Doesn't mean you're going to see 6 inches right now. I mentioned this just kind of giving you an idea of how heavy those downpours are in the area, stretching all the way through Apex and all the way west into Chatham County. So this is stretching over a large area. And again, multiple hazards within the severe thunderstorm warning. It's not just the possibility of a brief tornado, but also now the possibility of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So a couple of hazards here. The main thing to do is just stay indoors and have a way to get warnings. Be watching us on either on WRAL or on News Plus to make sure that you get those updates. So if there's a tornado warning issued, then you're ready to take that necessary precaution to move into your safe place, lowest interior portion of your home away from windows. Right now, just a severe thunderstorm warning, but still could produce some strong wind gusts, and also flash flooding still a concern. As Mike mentioned, there's still an aerial flood advisory in effect for now Wake County, all the way west towards Greensboro and point south because of all the downpours we're seeing within this batch of showers and storms. I'll take a zoom out look and you can kind of see how this expands over a large area to areas just east of Winston-Salem, all the way through Durham, down towards Raleigh, so all the way through the Triangle. And there's this large swath of a severe thunderstorm warning we're going to keep a close eye on, in addition to the tornado warning that is still active that's just west of the Triangle. It's closer to Chatham County, and then you can see from our Garner Tower camera, Mike hasn't pulled it up, some pretty impressive downpours still ongoing there.
Yeah, very impressive. This is part of the band that's coming through southern Wake County right now. So we are looking, this is Highway 70 here, and at some point on this part of the view is White Oak Shopping Center at I-40 and Highway 70, and you can see the rain is just coming down heavily, making driving treacherous. If you can, if you're watching from Wake County, if you're watching from Chatham County, and especially the Sandhills, please stay home until this passes, especially in Moore County, where we're hearing numerous reports of roads being impassable or closed. You just don't want to be out and about in this. And here in Wake County, with the heavy rain coming down in sheets, just briefly, it is going to make driving hazardous. There are a lot of people probably coming back from the beaches this afternoon, coming back from the Outer Banks and coming up I-40 have likely encountered some of this very heavy rainfall. It has just not been a good afternoon for traveling across the area. So let's head back to the radar. We'll go to the wide view once again. We'll do a reset. This is all with now Tropical Depression Chantal. The rain is confined to the Sandhills right now, up toward the Triangle, up into the northern coastal plain in southern Virginia. And from what we're seeing on models, this is all moving to the north now, and then will eventually move toward the northeast. So the core of this heavy rain will move over to this vicinity through the evening, and by midnight should be across southern Virginia. And I think once we get past midnight, some of this heavier rain will come to an end. And so the flash flood watch that we have in effect, that is in effect, goes until 6 a.m. So through the afternoon, if you have to be out and about, just use extreme caution when driving because roads are going to be very wet, especially on the west side of the viewing area. If you're watching from the east side, if you're watching from Rocky Mount and Wilson and over toward Youngsville and Lewisburg, Wayne County, Goldsboro, I think your worst is over. All this is pretty much going to stay on this part of the viewing area. So I think you're going to be in the all clear. If you are heading out to maybe an evening church service in our eastern counties, I think you'll be okay to go do that. You can keep tuning in from time to time on News Plus and here to see if we're on there covering what is going on. But there are no new bands coming in from the coast. Pretty much what's going on with Chantal right now is in this vicinity and will be heading to the northeast. So again, I doubt you will have much in the way of issues there. If you do see rain, most of it will be on the light side, and it should not be what we're seeing right now, cruising through the triangle and over into the Sandhills. And we're seeing some of that heavier rain moving through western Wake County, downtown Raleigh right now, eventually making its way to RDU, eventually making its way to Durham and Chapel Hill. So if you're watching from those vicinities, be prepared that heavy rain is coming and coming in quickly. Grant's got another look at some of the rainfall totals. It's been very impressive, and some of the models, like the HER model, is suggesting we could see up to 10 inches of rain, and we've seen that in isolated spots.
Yeah, pretty impressive amounts back towards Southern Pines, 10 inches. I've been watching some reports from the Weather Service. They actually just mentioned a short time ago, kind of an idea of how much rain we've seen over the past little while. And our team's been tracking this as well. So the report just sent in that there's been another boat rescue. Here's some video here you can see on the right side of your screen of some of the flooded roadways back towards, I believe this is in Southern Pines, correct? Is that right? US 1 in Southern Pines, thank you. So again, that's going to be, this same area that we're seeing 10 plus inches of rain for some spots. You're seeing the roadways are pretty in bad condition there, so try to stay away from that area. All of Southern Pines and Aberdeen is in pretty bad shape according to our team. And again, boat rescues. Also, Megan over in News Plus just sent us that there's been 800 Duke Energy outages in Pinehurst areas, so some power outages as well. So multiple hazards ongoing as these showers and storms continue. And again, some could produce some strong wind gusts. So we're watching that area that we're up in the severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible within that, up towards Wake County and back towards Chatham County, working its way into Alamance County and Person County as well. So you'll see those over the next 30 minutes to an hour or so. But look at the rainfall over the past 6 hours. Some of this has been just over the past 3 hours. 10 plus inches near Southern Pines, 7 inches just outside of that, 4.5 inches towards Hope Mills, Fayetteville around 2.5 inches. The rain is all working its way north. So you're going to see this swath slowly work its way north, and we'll have to watch for areas west of Sanford, east of Asheboro, and I would say up through Chatham County and up towards maybe Person areas west, back towards Greensboro. You might see more areas where we could see some pretty serious flash flooding over the next little while as these storms continue. Mike, you're still tracking that severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning over there.
Yes, and we have the WRAL storm tracker on the road, US 1 and Cary. I believe we can take a live shot. I believe Eric Miller is in the storm tracker heading into that direction. I believe they're heading down into Moore County where we've seen that significant flooding. And you can see on US 1 in western Wake County right now, the rain is coming down heavily. So we just want you to be safe and stay home if at all possible as this band moves on by. And with this band, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that does continue till 4:15. The potential is for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and also there could be a brief spin-up tornado from all the way from Garner, all the way over to Western Wake, all the way into Chatham County. Now, the Weather Service just sent out a message a couple of minutes ago saying there seems to be 2 areas of rotation in the Chatham County tornado warning, one near Goldston and one just south of Pittsboro. And we could take a look at that and see if we can find anything. And there are no defined, what I can see of defined circulations. And as it was Chrissy from over the National Weather Service who was sending out the message, she was talking about 2 areas. There's something going on here, and there's something going on near Pittsboro. And so these are generally moving in this direction. And the question is, will they be able to organize into something that could potentially be harmful? Right now, they look very disorganized, but enough to issue a tornado warning, enough for the National Weather Service to take notice and say, hey, we need to keep an eye on this. Let's go ahead and issue a warning. Something could pop out. With tropical systems, things could spin up so fast, and they would be quick, and they would be brief, and could be weak as they do develop and perhaps touch down and then disappear. But really nothing screams like there's something on the ground right now. And we look at the shear rate and nothing really showing up. I mean, we'll go back in time and we could see it just a little bit where you see the green little specks just to the north and east of Goldston. You can see a little bit weak shear rate, but nothing that really stands out. There's a little bit of shear over here over Jordan Lake, and we switch over to the shear swath, and you can see over time, this is a period of time, and you can see all the little bits of shear that are put in one mosaic picture, so to speak, and you can see at 341, the last little bit was located near Goldston, and that's about it. We switch over to another product. There might be a little bit of hail. This product is indicating this possibility of small hail. Probably not, but there could be some pea-sized hail, but I would doubt that. Again, there are the little perturbations showing up. There is the WRAL storm tracker going down US 1. Switch over to another product showing the winds, and we put it into motion, and you could see the little perturbations. You could see the little green specks embedded with the little red areas across Chatham County. That would be something that we would watch closely. There's like little perturbations, little spins in the atmosphere, not strong enough to produce a tornado perhaps, but they could potentially spin up. And then we look for some over Western Wake. Don't see anything that stands out. There's that one little bit of shear that I showed you over Jordan Lake that's showing up there. That's something to keep our eyes on. But with this line, you're going to see that very heavy rainfall. It's tropical rainfall. The raindrops are really big. The atmosphere is chock full of moisture, and all this is rotating to the north and to the west. Let me jump back over to the reflectivity, and you can see Morrisville's engulfed in the heavy rain right now, Farrington Villages as well, southern Durham County, Chapel Hill, Carborough seeing some of the heavier rain, over to Pittsburgh, Siler City, and back into southwestern Chatham County, Bear Creek, Goldston seeing that heavy rain too. And this band is shifting up to the north and will probably dump maybe a ½ inch to an inch of rain across parts of the area. And again, it does have that potential to spin up a quick tornado. Let me jump over to, there's our Garner camera. Let me switch to another camera. There is the Sanford camera and also the WRAL Garden Cam. I think I have it here. The rain doesn't look all that heavy for us, but by far the rain is coming down so heavy you can't, and the cloud cover's there, you can't really see a whole lot. But give me a second and see if I can change over to a couple other cameras. I have to go into another system. Let me bring up Chapel Hill if I can. Or we can bring up Fenton and Cary. Let me see what source is that in. Okay, so our producer's bringing Fenton up in 32. Can you bring that up? Can the director pop up? There you go. So the heavy rainfall is falling in Fenton right now. Also, we've got the very heavy rainfall that is stretching to the north and to the west. Just not a great day to be out. Just don't want to be in the middle of all this mess. Just not a great place to be. There, of course, is Fenton. I'm trying to get Chapel Hill because I want to get that up, and it's not. I'll try to get it. Okay, our producer's going to try to get Chapel Hill. Thank you very much. Excuse me. So Grant's standing by with the flash or the flood watch that lasts through overnight. Grant?
Yeah, and so I wanted to bring this up. Last night, we mentioned that we were going to issue a weather alert day for today because of flooding being a big concern. A level 2 of 4 risk was in place last night, and this was why. There are going to be some isolated spots with some pretty significant amounts of rain throughout the course of the day today. So this goes all the way through 6 a.m. Monday as Chantal continues to weaken, move north. It brings a lot of tropical moisture with it. Even though it's a weakening system, it brings a lot of moisture, and with that, the flood watch will stay in place, and the weather alert day will continue into the night as we have more chances for flash flooding. Here's a zoom out view. Mike was just showing that severe thunderstorm warning that was over, again, the triangle and points west back towards Chatham County as well. A tornado warning still in place. We've been watching a few areas of circulation, but they have been looking weaker over the past few scans, so it's a good sign there. There are more storms back to the coastline, but for the most part, the coast is pretty quiet. It's areas closer to the triangle and points west that are seeing the majority of the rain, and that's what we mentioned last night. At first, the storms are more on the northeast side of this system. Now it's weakened, much of it's on the north and west side of this as it moves north, and we're seeing the majority of the flash flooding concerns on that northwest side. And you can see all the heavy rain, still some tornado warnings in place though as the storm works its way north. And heavy downpours continue in the severe thunderstorm warning over Wake County all the way back towards Chatham County and points south as well. And I'll be keeping a close eye on some of these pockets in here where we could see some embedded rotation.
For Chatham County, just want to let you know.
Good. So the Chatham County tornado warning was allowed to expire, but I think the biggest thing to watch now is if there's going to be any spin-ups along this batch of showers and storms moving through Wake County and Chatham County. There are some pockets of some heavier downpours as well as they move north, so could see some isolated flash flooding. That's why aerial flood advisory is in place for those areas. Pittsburgh now seeing these heavier downpours. They're going to work their way closer to Chapel Hill and Durham here in the next 15 to 30 minutes. If Durham's probably already seen some light showers, but we'll see more in the way of heavy downpours here shortly. I'm going to look at one more product here, and we looked at this earlier showing the rainfall rates. Pretty impressive for some spots. Looks like it's glitching there, but again, some heavy rain continues across the area, and it looks like overall the shear hasn't looked very impressive back to the east. Further west, there have been some pockets of possible rotation over Jordan Lake, just east of Pittsburgh, but overall not looking as significant there. It's just pockets where we could see some possible rotation. That's a view from our Chapel Hill camera. Mentioned the rain's working its way in that direction. It'll eventually make it there. There's some light rain there. The heaviest pockets of rain are yet to come. And we'll see those showers continue to work their way in that direction. Looks like it's moderate rain right now. Some heavier rain is on the way. Mike, you have kind of an overview of how things are looking on satellite?
Yeah, I want to take a look at Chantal, the latest advisory, futurecast to see how long the rain's going to stick around in the area. And so we're using the light from the sun to illuminate the cloud, showing what Chantal is and where it's at. And there's the counterclockwise rotation. Of course, we're engulfed in the clouds. And the storm is moving to the north at about, I think it was 6 miles per hour to the last check. 9 miles per hour, I should say. So this was from the 11 o'clock advisory. Top winds are at 35 miles per hour. So technically a tropical depression as of 11 a.m. And this was the forecast earlier today when you joined Chris Michaels. Remnant area of low pressure as we head into the evening, and by tomorrow morning, top winds would be about 30. It's a remnant area of low pressure. But with the storm, most of the rain's going to be around the low and to the northeast. So when we get up in the morning at 8 a.m., the rain's pretty much going to be done. So this is a brand new run of futurecast that's just come in starting at 3 o'clock. And you could see the rotation located over the sandhills and pretty much that comma shape area of heavy rainfall from the sandhills over Wake County at 3 o'clock at that point. So let's go through time and watch as it gets to 6 o'clock. So at this point, the heaviest rain moving through the triangle up into southern Virginia. And notice, as I had mentioned, the eastern counties not really seeing a whole lot. So we're A-OK at this point. And I think you're going to be OK in the eastern counties as we head through the evening. The core, the heaviest rain will remain in this corridor here from the Sandhills through the Triangle up into southern Virginia. So by 9 o'clock, the potential exists for still heavy rainfall across our northern counties. By midnight, getting up into southern Virginia. By 3 a.m. in southern Virginia. And by the time we start the day tomorrow, the rain is up into southern Virginia. We'll wake up to some sunshine in our southern counties here in the Triangle, looking at a mostly cloudy start and still a small possibility of some rain as we go through the day tomorrow. So this is something that's going to be with us at least through midnight, and then after midnight, we'll be cruising out of North Carolina and deeper into Virginia. So we've got many hours ahead until we get rid of all this. So there's a new tornado warning that's just come in for Chatham, Orange until 4:15. This has just come in from the National Weather Service, and you can see the polygon that's just shown up there. Tornado warning for southeastern Alamance County, southwestern Orange County, northern Chatham County. This is until 4:15. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 7 miles northeast of Pittsburgh, moving west at 25 miles per hour. And you know what this is? I believe this is the little bit of shear that I showed over Jordan Lake.
Yep, it's right here. It's just west of Jordan Lake now. It's east of 15, and it's working its way west. That was that area that we were watching closely because we said there's some possible spin there, and now it's starting to get that shape that I mentioned earlier. Anytime you have an S shape, that's where you could see some possible spin when you use this rotation tracker here. And there's a small area where you're seeing that small S shape, so we could see a brief spin up here soon. Maybe a brief period of time over Jordan Lake where it kind of spun up for a second, and then now it's slowly weakening just a bit, but still a possible area of rotation there. I'm going to look at our storm relative velocity, and yeah.
showing up. Look at the.
Yeah, we haven't seen that today.
No.
Kind of a couple like that. I'm going to circle it right here. So again, these are winds. The red is winds going away from the radar. The green is it going towards the radar. And so that's why I've circled that area right there. It's where some possible spin is, just to the northeast of Pittsburgh. So I'm going to go street level now and take you in to show you what roads are included in this tornado warning, since this is a stronger area of rotation. This is going to be along Bynum Ridge Road, Big Hole Road, near, let's see, Mount Lead Church Road there. Apologize if I flubbed that a little bit, but you can see that area of rotation is just to the east of Bynum now. Suttles Road is included in this tornado warning. It's moving east to west, so Old Graham Road included in this tornado warning. Gum Springs is included in this as well. Mandale is included in this tornado warning. And I'm going to quickly lapse this about 30 minutes or so and look at the exact movement of this to kind of give you an idea of where this is moving. Yeah, moving towards 15, and it's going to be moving over Bynum here shortly. And this is a tighter area of rotation. I'm going to check in our correlation coefficient, see if there's any debris detected there. I'm not seeing anything there. But yeah, that's going to be the area to watch. That area of spin that's just to the southeast of Big Hole Road. It's about to move over Big Hole Road and move towards Bynum now along 15 and move closer to Old Graham Road here shortly and near Gum Springs. And also, I'll have to watch that area near Gum Springs just to the northwest of Pittsburgh as well. It's broad rotation likely, but there's another area of possible spin there. Looks like on the latest scan it's not looking as impressive, but still some possible rotation there. Mike?
Also, a flash flood warning has just been issued for Chatham, parts of Durham, parts of Lee, parts of Orange and Randolph County until 6:15. Quite a mess showing up on the radar here. All those green polygons basically are showing you that there's a potential for flooding, but it is, again, parts of Chatham County, Durham County, Lee, and Orange that are in a flash flood warning now until 6:15. That means flooding is ongoing or about to occur in these areas. So what we're seeing, excuse me, Doppler radar indicated heavy rain across the warned area. Up to 3 inches of rain has fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. And so what I'm going to do, since this all looks kind of cluttered, I'm going to turn off the flood advisories and just leave the flash flood warning on so you can see who exactly is and the flash flood warning. So let me turn off, excuse me. We got the Chapel Hill camera up as well, that you guys are currently in the flash flood warning. So let me turn off the tornado warnings and the severe thunderstorm warning. And so all the green polygons, excuse me, are in the flash flood warning. It's until 6:15 for Chatham County, Durham County, and Orange County, and Alamance County. So this is the location that we're seeing that heaviest rainfall occurring. And it is starting to rain here because I can hear rain on our roof. And again, as Grant has been pointing out, you can see that band from RDU all the way down to the northern part of Jordan Lake and back over to Pittsburgh, all the way into Moore County. This is that torrential rainfall that has been moving through that has necessitated the issuance of the flash flood warnings, not only for Moore County, but up here into parts of the Triangle. So that is until 6:15. The one here in Moore County is set to expire at 5:15, and the WRAL storm tracker is headed down US 1 right now, heading toward the biggest flooding that we've seen in Moore County. But there may be some impressive flooding setting up across parts of Chatham and also Orange counties. There are locations in Chapel Hill and Carrboro that tend to flood that we see all the time. There's some apartment complexes that tend to flood, and unfortunately, we may see that happen this afternoon and evening. Don't certainly want to see that, but the storm tracker will be investigating all the flooding. They may be heading down 64. There was a little bit of a shift to the west, so we'll see over time. Is it possible to take the storm tracker, the producer that's in the booth? She's going to work on that and see if we can get them as they get closer to that heavier rain. But again, the flash flood warning is new for Chatham County, excuse me, parts of Durham County and Orange County. All that rain is rotating into farther into Durham and Orange County, so you're likely to see the flooding start or continue to get worse in that area. So Grant, such a busy afternoon for us with multiple tornado warnings, all this flash flooding. It's just quite a mess when we have tropical systems come on by.
Exactly. Like, the biggest concern was going to be that flash flooding, but we've seen multiple tornado warnings as well because of these small areas of spin. This is just west of Jordan Lake, south of Farrington there, towards Bynum Ridge Road. You can see some at least broad rotation there, but it's been trying to tighten up here over the past couple of minutes. Moving closer to Bynum now Again, I mentioned along 15. Remember to be in your safe place. That's the lowest interior portion of your home, away from windows. If you are in a mobile home, possibly try to move to a more sturdy shelter as soon as possible if you're in the path of this storm, because I'm still noticing at least some broad rotation there working its way west. And again, this storm has produced a couple of areas of rotation against a line of showers and storms, I should say. And you can see towards Pittsburgh, all the way up along 15, there's been a couple of areas we've had some areas of spin. So the first one we're watching is going to be right here. And the second one is more broad, but it's near Pittsburgh. And they're just these areas in the severe thunderstorm warning where the National Weather Service has mentioned, hey, we need to keep an eye on this. And we've been watching these as well to kind of see if they ever spin up at all. For the most part, they've been broad, but this area just east of 15 along Bynum Ridge Road is still a little tighter than it's a little suspect. So as it stays tight, we'll want to watch that couplet and see if it does tighten up anymore and possibly drop a brief tornado. Right now it's just rotation, but it could drop a brief tornado at any time. Looks like correlation's not looking very impressive at all, so not seeing any debris there, which is a good sign. Looks like this might just be rotation and not a tornado. But a tornado could drop at any time still as this moves west over 15, and then we'll move closer to Gum Springs, Terrells as well, and back towards Silk Hope and Crutchfield Crossroads here in the next 20 to 30 minutes. This tornado warning is set to expire at 4:15 p.m., so it'll be another 20 minutes or so until this expires. And it looks like the area that was to the south and west still staying broad over Pittsburgh. One of the bigger concerns today is that flash flooding. Multiple flash flood warnings all over the area, and still a severe thunderstorm warning across much of the Triangle and points west. Mike, you've still been watching that severe thunderstorm warning?
I'm watching the severe thunderstorm warning, but a couple of things I wanted to point out to the folks at home. One, the Durham Bulls game has been postponed. It will be rescheduled to a later date. We got the DBAP camera coming up here, and they got the tarp on the field with that heavy rain that you see here in southern Durham County, all heading to the north, and even the downtown area, not even seeing the heaviest rain just yet. Wouldn't be smart to be having a ball game played this afternoon and into the evening, because this heavy rain is likely to continue there through the afternoon and into the evening hours. And again, with that potential for a tornado, we want folks to be safe, so it'd be a good idea not to have that. Also, Eric Miller is in the WRAL Storm Tracker, and I think we can go to him. And I want to talk to you, Eric, about what you went through trying to get to where you're at now, and where are you actually heading, and what do you expect to see when you get there?
Hey, Mike. Yeah, we're on our way to Aberdeen and Southern Pines right now. A lot of the reports we've been getting from folks out there sending stuff in tell us that area's been pretty hard hit. As we're taking a live look right now, you can see we're crossing over the deep river here in the area around Moncure. You can see the rain coming down, sort of moderate at this point, nothing too heavy. We've seen off and on showers since we left Raleigh within the last half hour. About 20 minutes ago, we passed through a very significant band of rain, a very heavy band of rain, just south of town there, but that let up pretty quickly. It let off for a good long while, and you can see right now the windshield wipers going almost at their lowest setting here as we're continuing to head southbound. Again, heading to that Southern Pines, that Aberdeen area where we were told there was some flash flooding there, folks dealing with water in their homes in some cases. We're hoping to check that out on the ground, see how they're doing, see just exactly how bad this storm was and what kind of cleanup efforts are now underway. In a couple of minutes, we'll be passing over the Haw River here. When we were going over the deep just a few minutes ago, you could see that the water is starting to get up, starting to get a little bit brown as some of those flood waters are washing into the water at this point. But still relatively light rain here in the vicinity of Moncure. And we're passing a road sign here. I can tell you we're 12 miles from Southern Pines at this point, coming up on exit 76. So if you're in the vicinity of Moncure, if you're in this part of the area, this is what you're looking at right now. Relatively light rain. I do want to send you now to some video. This is going to be Highway 5 in Pinehurst. You can see some of that flash flooding that we were talking about there. That's the result of some of that heavy rain that we saw coming down throughout the earlier part of this afternoon. That more southern part of our viewing area, that more southerly part of Moore County there, western Moore County, they've definitely gotten hit pretty hard. If you're more back up towards Raleigh, you've only likely seen some light scattered showers over the course of the day. That's what we were seeing as we were out and about earlier. And you can see right now as we come back out live here, you can see the rain just starting starting to pick up here as we come up on exit 76 here, Farrell Road. The Raleigh exec jetboards here at this exit. Of course, we're going to stay on the road. We'll let you know what we're seeing out here in the WRAL Storm Tracker, and we'll bring you any updates as we start to get closer to Southern Pines and Aberdeen.
Cool. We'll check with you in just a few minutes to see what you're seeing. But I wanted to point out on the radar where Eric and the Storm Tracker are right now. So he is in Chatham County. It's that little Boot Hill part heading down US 1. And this here is Lee County. So let's broaden out the view. And there is Sanford, and there is Carthage, and farther to the south would be Aberdeen and Southern Pines. So that's where he is headed in the Storm Tracker. That area has been inundated with what Grant has been showing you, 8, 9, 10 inches of rain. And of course, as Eric was mentioning, there are reports of homes that have water in them. Just a devastating scene this afternoon. And the rain continues to come down heavily in Carthage and Robbins, and then farther to the north into Goldston. And of course, we still have that tornado warning for Pittsboro and parts of Chatham County. And that will continue until 4:15. Excuse me, the storm is moving to the west at about 25 miles per hour. So let's switch over to the velocities and see if we see anything new that has shown up. And there at 3:49 was when the impressive couplet showed up. And over time, as we go through the past several minutes, you can see how it has weakened. So let's go back in time when this tornado warning was issued. Boom, right there. That's the most impressive couplet that Grant and I were talking about, 3:49. And then we go through time, and you can see for yourself the reds and the greens, they just kind of don't look quite as impressive. They're kind of falling apart a bit. And now it's really hard to find a couplet or circulation or rotation that we saw back here at 3:47, 3:48, 3:49. And again, boom, it pretty much is gone. So the nature of tropical systems are quick, brief, weak spin-ups of tornadoes, and the signatures that show up on the radar that we just saw there. And now you look at the radar, looking at the velocities, and there's really no well-defined area of rotation. And the tornado warning area has been shrunk down to just to the north of Pittsboro and not near Siler City. So it's just this vicinity of Chatham County that's under the tornado warning. And here it is, 4:01. And I would suspect that the Weather Service is thinking, okay, if there's really not much in the way of a strong rotation, we'll probably just let this run out, because there is a potential that there could be more spin-ups as we head into the afternoon, especially along this line. We go back over here, back toward Chapel Hill and Carborough in southern Durham County, and there are other little areas of green and red showing up that are showing little potential rotations. Let's go back to this view, and there's one near Morrisville, maybe something a little bit going on here. And of course, this is the most impressive one because you have the greens and the reds. These don't have greens showing up. So there's kind of like little bits of spin in the atmosphere. And then we switch over to the shear rate, and just a couple of little spots. This one here again near Morrisville, and again this one here that I pointed out a moment ago, and then the other one here in Pittsboro. None of them honestly look all that impressive, and we still have our severe thunderstorm warning that goes into about 4:15 as well. And the thunderstorm continues to move to the west at about 20 miles per hour. In fact, it's just a line that's doing that, and embedded in that line, just very heavy rainfall that will continue to spread to the north and to the west. So we got several hours to go before we're cleared of all this rain. So we see the storm tracker heading closer and deeper into Sanford. Eric is likely encountering more in the way of heavy rain, and that heavy rain continues over Morrisville. RDU seeing heavy rain. Chapel Hill is seeing heavy rain. Pittsboro is seeing heavy rain. Farrington Village in the northern end of Jordan Lake seeing heavy rain. And you can see the storm tracker now encountering more in the way of steady rainfall. In fact, I can move the radar view to see what he's encountering, and he is encountering more in the way of yellows and oranges showing up, which is the heavy rain. He's making pretty good progress heading into Lee County, heading down US 1, eventually getting to McCracken Heights, Sanford, and then point southward. He'll be encountering the light to moderate rainfall. Doesn't look like he's going to get into the heaviest rain until probably over southern Lee County, and by the time he gets here, this may have shifted out. So I don't think he's going to encounter the worst of the conditions, which right now is in the heart of Moore County up toward Carthage and Robbins, and especially over here up in Chatham County. Pittsboro, Siler City, the Liberty area doesn't look all that bad. And then farther north Chapel Hill. We put this into motion. You can see that heavy rain is heading up into southern Orange County. So soon Chapel Hill and Carrboro will be seeing some of that heavier rainfall, and rainfall rates will really pick up. And it looks like the tornado warning has been canceled because it has disappeared from our view. So right now, as we did before, Grant, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning until 4:15, and of course the flash flood warnings continue as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another spin up at some point, because that's been the nature of what we've been seeing throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, brief spin up tornadoes along portions of these batches of showers and storms. Severe thunderstorm warning still in place from areas just to the really over Raleigh and points to the north and west, just south of Durham. Chapel Hill included in this, in Pittsboro. A brief spin up is still possible, but the main thing I'm watching for these heavier bands of showers and storms, and with that some more flash flooding. Again, as Mike mentioned a little while ago, a flash flood warning is now in place for a lot of these spots that were previously just under an aerial flood advisory, but now we have a flash flood warning for those spots. So going to continue to watch that. Also, the storm tracker is going to check out more of that flooding headed towards Carthage and Sanford, as well as more heavy rain continues there. And I'm going to pull up 3-hour rainfall. This is just really, really impressive. I'll pull up 6 hours as well. So you can see back towards Carthage and Southern Pines, Taylortown, Aberdeen. I'm going to click on a few of these spots. 10.7 inches radar estimated, 8 inches radar estimated in Carthage, Taylortown 8 inches radar estimated, Aberdeen 7.6 inches, Cameron at 4.8 inches, Robbins at about 5 inches of rain there, and this is spreading northward as these bands of showers and storms continue over the next little while. So it's going to be really, really important to, if you don't have to be out on the roadways, don't be on the roadways, because we've still got a lot of heavy bands of showers and storms moving north. You can see there on our Pinehurst camera, still a lot of areas that are seeing at least some ponding, flooding on the course there in Pinehurst. And that was this similar story. I think, Mike, you mentioned this earlier. This was, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. There was some pretty significant flooding back towards Moore County. And we're once again seeing, again, how multiple rounds of showers and storms can bring conditions like this to some of those areas.
Yeah, there was one point, I think, that the rain had just been going over an hour and looked just like that scene there. And the green's definitely going to be staying green there in Pinehurst. Wanted to show you RDU. We just got a report that there are 68 flight delays because of the weather, and there are 2 cancellations. So it may be a slow go trying to get out of RDU this afternoon because of the foul weather that's moving on by. A couple other views I wanted to share with you. This one, I believe, is the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. The game has been postponed. Will be rescheduled at a later date because of the inclement weather coming through. They definitely have the tarp on the field, and there is no one in the stadium right now. And our final stop will be Chapel Hill. Now, yeah, it is raining there right now, but per the radar we just showed you, the heaviest rain is just to the south of the city of Chapel Hill and Carrboro. It will be lifting to the north, and so the rain in the next 20 minutes to half hour will be far heavier than what you're seeing here. So we will check in from time to time in this location to see what the radar is going, or what the scene's going to look like. Of course, we'll be following the radar too. So here is the expanded view. We'll time lapse this so you can see on the live dual Doppler 5000 radar the heaviest rain moving through the Sandhills right now, and then you have that band setting up into Wake County and up toward Durham County and all across southern Virginia and some of our northern counties. If you're watching from Roxborough, some of that heavy rain is about to move into your location. Northern Granville County, Vance County, South Hill, Clarksville, Skipwith, Lake Gaston, seeing some of the heavier rain. But you have to point out over toward Rocky Mount and Wilson and Wayne County and Goldsboro and Clinton, very little going on. Yeah, there are some heavy showers moving through northern Johnston County right now near Emmet and Archer Lodge. But you go farther east from there, there are no new rain bands coming in. So for the most part, you will have the better weather this evening than the rest of the viewing area. It's primarily from the Triangle area west and northwest that'll likely hold on to the heavy rainfall over the next several hours. And so just be aware that it's just going to be a mess trying to be out and about. So we have the flash flood warning for the Sandhills till 5:15. We have got the flash flood warning till 6:15. We have the severe thunderstorm warning here until 4:15. That'll expire within about 6 minutes. But we'll continue to watch the radar because, again, we've got these little areas of perturbations, rotations showing up that may warrant the issuance of tornado warnings. They could spin up quickly. Looks like there's another area here that looks starting to look a little bit more impressive. You've got the raindrops here moving toward the radar site. You got the radar raindrops here moving away. So this might be another couplet that's trying to tighten up. So we'll see if there's a new tornado warning issued out of this. Let me go back in time so we can see how that evolved and see how it goes from nothing. You don't see the reds in that spot, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's a little bit of red showing up, 407. You see a little bit more red at 408, and we haven't had a new scan yet, but we'll watch to see if a new scan comes in. Now, to give you a heads up, since there's no tornado warning in effect, and there may not be, I mean, this may weaken or may grow, and a tornado warning may be issued. So this yellow line here, this is Highway 64. So off of that is Alex Cockman Road, Buckner Clark Road. So this is the vicinity that we're seeing a little bit of a couplet trying to come together. And we'll continue to see if anything comes out of that. Very little shear showing up. There's the shear swath. So about 410, it was showing a little bit of shear. We switch over to another product that's showing hail. I doubt there's any hail coming out of there. But again, there's the little bit of rotation that has just suddenly popped up, and that's the nature of what we've been seeing this afternoon. And maybe another one here around Goldston. Let's go back in time and see how that evolves. So that's looking a little bit more organized. Excuse me. And that's looking quite broad in nature, so maybe there's nothing going on with that. But certainly at the edge of our severe thunderstorm warning, that's something to watch. And again, with this severe thunderstorm warning, what came out from the National Weather Service was they have a tornado tag. At the end of the warning, it says in the very bottom what the possible threats are, and one of them is a possible tornado. So this is like one step below of them issuing a tornado warning. So they just want to give the heads up that, yeah, there's a severe thunderstorm and it could produce a tornado. And so that's what we continue to watch out for. So I would suspect that either, because we're coming up in 4:15, about 4 minutes away, we may see a new warning issued, severe thunderstorm warning issued farther to the north and west, or we may see a tornado warning, or we may just have a lull in warnings. We'll have to watch and see. But that's what we're watching right now, this heavy band, very heavy rainfall, now moving into southern Orange County, continues over west of Pittsburgh, between Pittsburgh and Siler City. Folks driving on 64 right now through the two locations, probably encountering some very heavy rainfall. Wouldn't be surprised if folks have pulled over because of the heavy rain. You see that many, many times. Folks are just not comfortable driving in the torrential rain, and sometimes the windshield wipers can't keep up with them. But we probably are seeing that in the location. I was just looking at the chat room, and it distracted me for just a second, watching to see if a new tornado warning has been issued, and there are no new updates from the National Weather Service. So Grant, this is basically turning into just a huge wet mess, especially over the sandhills, and this was anticipated. You talked about this last night.
Yeah, the possibility for flash flooding was definitely going to be there. That's why we issued a weather alert day for today, because flash flooding was going to be a concern, and also the possibility for some brief spin-up tornadoes, and those have been the two main threats today. I just got a message from our team, RDU, 68 delays and 2 cancellations, and will likely get worse soon. So still some concerns there with, again, these storms causing cancellations there. Also, from the Southern Pines Fire and Rescue Chief, he urges everyone in Southern Pines to stay in a safe location. Very extensive flooding, as you can see on the map here. Southern Pines, around 10 plus inches of rain, radar estimated. Multiple roads are closed. If you're driving and encounter water on the roadways, don't continue. The Cole Center on Brucewood Road is currently being evacuated due to flooding from a retaining wall failure. A dam in Longleaf Country Club area has also failed, and there are currently 2 water rescue teams assigned to Southern Pines who have responded to multiple vehicle incidents of stranded drivers. So all that to say, again, folks near Southern Pines in that general area, and even areas of the south and just north as well, try to stay home if you can, because there's some pretty extensive rainfall over those areas that has fallen over those areas. And so flash flooding, if it's not already ongoing, will happen soon. I mean, this is a pretty significant amount of rainfall to fall in just the past probably 4 hours. It shows 6-hour rainfall, but it's been more like 3 to 4 hours. We've seen this pretty extensive rain across the area. Also, just to the north and east towards Raleigh, Durham, 1.5 to 2 inches of rain, so not that a significant rain that we've seen in other spots. And as this weekends, I think these totals will start to die down, but still, we're really gonna have to watch those areas close to Southern Pines and see if those totals increase. Thankfully, since it's moving north, I think those totals will start to plateau here soon, which is a good sign. You can see the overall system is moving north. The rain is just west of Sanford. The heavy band stretches all the way into Wake County and now moving into Durham County and Orange County, where we have multiple flood advisories and warnings ongoing. Those are those green boxes. Tornado warning was allowed to expire, but still a severe thunderstorm warning as a tornado could spin up at any time. So we're just going to have to watch that very closely over the next little while. I'm going to go back to those reports here. Again, these are 6-hour rainfall from again, probably past 3 to 4 hours, and you can see the majority of this rain is down through Sanford, Carthage, Southern Pines, Aberdeen, and Rayford into portions of Hoke County. Moore County is included in, again, some of this heaviest rainfall, and back to the south over Scotland County. There's some pretty significant totals there, and still 2 to 3 inches up towards Lillington and Sanford. So if you're in those spots, just try to stay indoors. Don't try to go out right now. It's already very gloomy out there. The rainfall is pretty significant. It is a weekend, but it's also a travel day. I know a lot of folks might be traveling home from the 4th of July weekend. So I think that still could be a concern where people are still out and about. So people need to be watching that closely. Mike?
Yeah, rough afternoon with Chantal coming through. Just a tropical depression, but we know that tropical systems dump a lot of rain, and we've seen that this afternoon. Now, Megan Glove is standing by in the live center. She's got some information to share with us. Busy afternoon, Megan.
Oh yeah, Mike, and you've been mentioning just how big of a mess our southern counties are today, and this kind of proves it right here. We got more than 800 Duke Energy customers without power in Pinehurst right now, and that seems to be mostly impacting the Linden Road area. I'm going to move off camera for a second to show you some other problem areas we're dealing with. I am tracking this one spot in just south of Raleigh, kind of in between the Raleigh Apex area. Let me find that for you. Okay, right about here, you see that 194. Okay, over here, it seems to be impacting the Baybrook area, perhaps, off Holly Springs Road. I'm also tracking a similar situation over towards Durham. About 175 power outages here. We'll zoom on that a little bit. The Norwood Avenue area, 169 outages in this area just south of Duke University Road. And also want to point out this picture that was sent to us out of Moncure, a tree down. Of course, you know, we've been receiving a lot of photos just like this, those severe weather impacts, and we do want to see many more of those photos. You can send all of them and more to WRAL.com/reported. We'll share all we can coming up on WRAL News at 6.
Thank you, Megan. We've got some very heavy rainfall coming through. All the warnings have come to an end. We still see the heavy rain cruising through parts of Chatham County, northern, or I should say southern parts of Orange County, southern Durham County too. All that heavy rain is rotating through the area. Wanted to share with you Futurecast and to show you how long this is probably going to remain in the area. Let me jump over to another graphic. And so there is Futurecast at 4 o'clock, pretty much lining up where we see the rain right now. The heaviest rain, Moore County, Chatham County, Lee County, heading up to the north. And there's that other batch over parts of Henderson and also over toward Bullock and Stovall and Oxford up in Granville County. And we go through time. I'll run through this. There's 6 o'clock. We see the heavy rain still in the triangle at that point. So we're going to continue to see issues, maybe not the issues that the folks in the Sandhills have been seeing, because we're expecting the forward motion of this to increase. And so it won't have the time to dump the heavy rainfall that it's been doing over the Sandhills. 9 o'clock, we see still rain over Durham County, Orange County, Person County, Granville County, and points northward. There's midnight exiting the state. And then overnight, the rain continues to make its way through Southern Virginia, and tomorrow morning we should wake up to dry weather. So we're about to end our coverage for the moment. I just want to check out a couple of things. Let me go back to the radar, look at the velocities, and see what we got going on, and see if there's anything that looks dire right now, because let's see. Okay, so we're getting a report that at the Raleigh Executive Jetport in Lee County, reports of a tornado. The Sanford, or at least at the airport, sustained damage to a couple of hangars and aircrafts, and runway and taxiways were closed to remove the debris. So there was a debris signature that showed up. This was at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So if my producer, you might want to have the storm tracker or somebody head out there to check out the damage. Apparently there was damage to a couple of hangars and aircraft over at the Raleigh Executive Jetport in Lee County and Sanford. And that was at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And so let's zoom into that area. And so let's see if we can find anything. Go back to 3 o'clock. See if we can see a signature. Yeah, there you go, right there. Definitely see something showing up right here. And that's exactly where the airport's located. So somewhere around 3:05, there was a report of tornadic damage. You can definitely see the couplet showing up, raindrops moving toward the radar site, moving away here. So definitely a quick spin up that happened. It came and went really fast. There's 258, there's 302, and then there's 307 and it's gone. So even though it didn't look all that impressive on radar, these things happen. They happen fast and they create damage. This almost looks like the signature that we saw over in Chatham County a short time ago that came off of Jordan Lake. So this was small, but it created damage. So again, there was a report of a tornado. There was damage at the Raleigh Executive Jetport over there in Lee County, sustained damage to a couple of hangars and aircrafts, and runway and taxiways were closed to remove the debris. So I'm not sure if all that's been cleared off yet. But yeah, one report of a tornado so far today. So let me expand the view and put us back to current time. And again, we have flash flood warnings here for parts of Orange County, Durham County, Chatham County, and also southward into Moore County where there's massive flooding going on right now. That's where the storm tracker is going. The one over Chatham County, Lee County, and Orange County, Durham County expires at 6:15. This one here for parts of Lee County and Moore counties until 5:15. So flooding will likely be ongoing. Okay, so my producer's telling me we are headed to that damage at the jetport to see what's going on in there. Well, hopefully we'll have that. We should have that in our 6 o'clock newscast. So as of right now, that's how we stand. We're going to stand down, and if there are any new tornado warnings, we will break in with coverage. But right now, they're not looking at anything that's imminent, but we know how quickly that can change. Grant and I will stand by, and we will let you know the latest. So stay with us and be safe this afternoon.